Welcome to Pixelmon 100 Days in Minecraft, the full movie. Now, before this video starts, I would like to disclose that this is 400 days of Pixelmon, but the server that I was playing on actually reset, so now everybody has started completely from scratch. And this means that the series has come to an end. But that also means that I'm going to be starting a brand new 100-day series very shortly. So before that new series does come out, I thought I would combine my entire last series into one amazing, long, epic movie for you guys. So anyway, guys, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and enjoy 100 Days of Pixelmon, the movie. The reason I love Minecraft so much is its ability to mod the game to add whatever comes to your imagination. Growing up, I always loved to play Pokemon, so when I saw that there was a Minecraft mod called Pixelmon, I instantly fell in love. I've been playing Pixelmon for years now, and I feel like it's finally time for me to do a 100 days challenge. If you guys don't know, Pokemon or Pixelmon is a game where you can catch hundreds and hundreds of different Pokemon. You can train them, you can breed them, you can battle them, all the way up to level 100. That's putting Pokemon in a very, very small nutshell. There's actually a lot more to it. But anyway, in this video, I will be spending 100 Minecraft days on the PokeSmash server. The server has a ton of amazing features, including 8 gyms, a safari, battle towers, tournaments for real-life money, a war zone where legendary and shiny Pokemon have a high chance of spawning, but if you battle other players in the war zone, the winner gets to steal the loser's Pokemon. It also has a Poke Hunt challenge where you have a limited time to catch a specific Pokemon, and if you do that, you get to claim a pretty awesome reward. There is also a Pokemon Hunger Games minigame that is absolutely epic, amazing custom Pokemon textures, just like this Galaxy Groudon, and there's much, much more. In these first 100 days, I have 4 specific objectives. The first one is definitely the most challenging and quite nearly impossible, but it is to complete the Generation 1 Pokedex. That means I have to catch 151 Pokemon, including all of the legendary Pokemon. The next challenge is to beat the very first gym on the server, which is a flying type gym. The third objective that I have is to catch a legendary Pokemon. Now, if I do complete the first generation Pokedex, that will inevitably happen, but I at least want to be able to catch 1 legendary. And my final objective is to complete a Poke Hunt. Now, I know that one sounds kind of easy, but I feel like I need one relatively easy objective on this list, so that this video isn't a complete fail. These challenges will be incredibly difficult, especially completing Generation 1 and catching a legendary Pokemon. I'm not looking forward to it. But if you guys do want to join me on the server, the IP and a tutorial on how to install Pixelmon will be linked in the description down below. Before this video starts, I would just like to say that this video took me an incredible amount of time to make. So if you guys do enjoy, please do me a favor and leave a like and subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. Anyway, guys, let's start our journey. So, just like any Pokemon game, Pixelmon forces you to make the most difficult selection of your life to start your adventure. You get to choose any of the starter Pokemon from any of the 8 generations. Now, looking back on it, it probably would have been smartest for me to take a Generation 1 Pokemon, but I have to go with the love of my life, Mudkip. So, this is where you spawn on the PokeSmash server, and I actually ran into someone pretty famous to start off my adventure. Yeah, I found Technoblade within about 5 seconds. I thought it would be a good idea to fight the first person I saw and make them my rival, but the problem is, well, Technoblade is pretty good at not only Minecraft, but apparently Pokemon as well. And yeah, he killed me in 1 hit. Sad, sad times. So because my Pokemon died, I went to /warp heal, and that is the, well, I guess a free way, an easy way to heal your Pokemon. And so now, Mudkip is back up to full health and ready to battle. The first thing that I love to do whenever starting a series on this network is to jump straight down from spawn, because when you do that, you'll come across a bunch of these level 1 Pokemon, which are actually perfect to train your starter with, because your starter is only level 5, and so battling these level 1 Pokemon is relatively easy, and it gives you very good experience. And not too much later, I was able to actually get my Mudkip up to level 16, which means that he evolves. He evolves into a Marshtomp. Unfortunately, the view of the evolution was pretty blocked by my ginormous legs. I know I'm pretty thick. But nonetheless, I was still pretty excited to get my first evolution on this 100-day challenge. Someone gave me a Team Rocket chest plate, and I was naked this whole time, so I guess I'm joining Team Rocket now. Before we venture out into the wild, a really good thing to do is vote for the server, because if you do that, you actually get vote crate keys, which will allow you to get free Pokeballs, free rare candies, and a bunch of free loot that is really helpful in starting off an adventure. If you do the /warp crates command, it takes you right to where the crates are, and the vote crate key is right on the left. So in our first crate key, we actually managed to get ourselves a random Pokemon. This was really good for me because it got me a Mudsdale that was level 36, which is a really high level to start off an adventure with. And this is going to allow me to not only eliminate higher level Pokemon, but it's also going to let me catch higher level Pokemon as well, because with this Mudsdale, I will now be able to damage those Pokemon, which will allow me to catch them easier. And then I also got 10 Ultra Balls, which comes in very, very handy later on in the series. And then I got rare candies, 10 more Ultra Balls, more rare candies, and lastly, I got 10 Timer Balls. Now that we have a level 16 Marshtomp and a 36 Mudsdale, it's time for us to explore the wild. And the first thing I came across was a little tiny cute home, but as I went around back, I noticed that it was on fire. So the first thing I did on my adventure was a pretty good community, just a good thing, I feel like if I were to start off my adventure as a nice guy, good karma will come my way. So the first thing I wanted to do in this adventure was start my house, because it's always nice to, have a home that you can always come back to. But unfortunately, I am extraordinarily picky, and I didn't end up building my house for a while because I really wanted to find, a terrain that I wanted to build on. Oh, and this is actually really rare. So early on in our adventure, we actually found a grotto which has a Master Ball loot inside. Now, there's random loot scattered around the world of Pixelmon. Some are Pokeballs, some are Ultra Balls, some are Master Balls. But that doesn't mean that they drop that respective Pokeball. They actually drop normally a random held item. And I noticed that there was actually a Weedle right next to me as well, so I decided that it would be a good idea to catch him, as he is, a Generation 1 Pokemon, and that is one of my goals, so I figured might as well start early rather than late. For some reason, it did take a really long time to catch him, but in the end, we did manage to catch the level 2 Weedle. And shortly after that, we managed to catch ourselves an Oddish. And then I caught my least favorite Pokemon of all time, a Rattata. Ooh, I found another grotto. Choice specs, let's go. This is what's called an Apricorn field. You use Apricorns in order to craft Pokeballs. When the Apricorn is fully grown, like this one right here, you just right-click it and you get a black Apricorn. Then you smelt it up and combine it with other smelted colors of Apricorns in order to get lids of Pokeballs. Then you also have to craft the bottom of the Pokeball by using iron and also get a button. And after you combine all three of them up, you then get a Pokeball. Normally, I don't like catching Zubats because they kind of stink, but with this objective in hand, I'm gonna have to catch every single Pokemon in Generation 1, even if I don't like them. After I caught the Zubat, I had to take a dump, and that took up a couple days. I went back to spawn to check out a few things, and I realized that there's actually a /GTS command. This is where all the players on the server will actually list Pokemon that they have for a certain price. For example, someone is selling this Bagon for $70,000. It does have perfect IVs and a perfect nature though. That's why it's so expensive. Someone is selling a shiny, almost perfect IV Rayquaza for $200,000. That's a crap ton of money. Right now, I only have $100. There's a hologram here that says if you type in /smashme, which we won't really talk about, I'm pretty sure the full command is /smashmenu, which, yeah, that's what we'll type in because we're a little bit more appropriate here. This actually shows you how to claim blocks, some useful commands, economy info, how to train your Pokemon, warps, vote, gyms, which is actually something that we need to accomplish today, well, in today's video at least, the war zone, which is something else I'd like to check out, ranks, and party stats. If we go ahead and select on gyms, you'll see that the very first gym is a flying gym, and then there's a ground gym, a fairy gym, a normal gym, an electric gym, a dragon gym, a fire gym, a poison gym, and that's it. That's all the gyms. They all seem to be closed at the moment, but once the flying gym is open, I will be sure to try to challenge it. Anyway, guys, I think it's time that we build our first house. Ideally, I want to find a plains area because that to me is just the most fun to build in. Oh my god, we actually just found a ginormous bear. This Ursaring is level 59, which is a very, very high level to find a wild Pokemon. I'm gonna leave him alone or else he's literally going to destroy my whole team. Oh, a Geodude. He can be added to my collection. And boom, there we go. We've captured a Geodude. And there we go. We caught him a chop. Now, one really cool thing about Pixelmon is they actually have really ultra rare Pokemon that spawn, but they're invisible. And you can find them by seeing these particles on the ground. Sometimes they're actually double battles. So if I walk through here, you'll see that, boom, it puts me into a double battle with two Torkoals that are very, very high leveled. One's level 46 and the other is 53. Neither of these are Generation 1 Pokemon though, so I'm just gonna go ahead and try to escape if they'll let me. Boom, we caught a Hitmonlee. I just realized that one of my objectives is to catch as many Generation 1 Pokemon as possible, and I started with a Generation 3 Pokemon. So that was pretty dumb of me. Finding those first 3 starters is, definitely going to be pretty challenging. Oh, and I just found a Tauros, who is actually a pretty challenging Pokemon to catch. So what we're going to do is actually take out our Hitmonlee and see if he can do some good damage to it with any of his fighting moves. Boom, we captured Tauros. Boom, we captured Nidoran, Kakuna, Dugtrio, Graveler, Cubone. Ooh, and then I came across a village. Oh, and I found my first trainer. And he actually ran to his mom because he knew that I was about to whoop his butt. But unfortunately, there's nowhere for him to run when I break down the entire building. So, little man, it is time to face your fate. And without much time, I managed to absolutely destroy this puny little trainer. I wanted to feel a little bit more of a personal connection with my Pokemon, so I decided to nickname all of them. And there we go. Now they're all nicknamed. I caught a couple more Pokemon. Ekans, Raticate, Diglett, Ghastly. I decided to destroy a village and strip it of all of its courts. Even though I know that this is really frowned upon to do, I want to make sure that the house that I build is a really nice looking house. After I mined out all the courts, it was time to mine out all of the wood as well. This Pokemon is getting absolutely destroyed. Miltank. After the start of building my house, I realized that there were a couple blocks that I didn't have that I wanted. Those were terracotta blocks, and the way to find them is to actually find a mesa. And in the mesa, there's a lot of very rare Pokemon that spawn. So my next mission is to go and find a mesa and gather some of those blocks. So my best bet was actually to ask the people that were on the server if they knew where a mesa was. Turns out, Zoomin LP seems to know. And boom, there we go. I now have a mesa, and this dude's got a ginormous base. Check this out. Wow, this is incredible. So these areas that you see here are actually breeding areas. These are called ranch blocks, and the reason that he has glass and iron on the floor here is because whatever Pokemon he's breeding in here are most comfortable with glass and iron as their environment. Same thing with here. This is Endstone, so most likely the Pokemon that he's breeding in this area are dragons. I don't know if that's something that I'm gonna end up doing in my 100 days, because that is something a little bit further down the line. But if you guys do like this episode, be sure to first of all smash that like button and let me know if you want to see another 100 days. But anyway, this is exactly the block that I wanted to mine for the outside of my house. So let me go ahead and gather up a ton of this. Whoa, look, someone in chat actually just called a Zapdos. It only has 56% IVs, probably the worst IVs I've ever seen on a legendary Pokemon, which is why someone actually put F in chat. But it's still pretty epic that he called himself a Zapdos. So the way that you catch those 3 legendary birds, that is Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres, you have to... Oh no, my pickaxe broke. Gosh dang it. Well, anyway, to catch those 3 birds, you actually have to get a legendary orb and then combine it with either a Firestone, a Thunderstone, or a Waterstone. And after you've done that relative one, you then have to eliminate, I think, like, I don't know, 350 Pokemon or so. And as you eliminate those Pokemon, the souls of those Pokemon go into the orb. And when the orb is completely full, after you've killed, I think, around 350 Pokemon, then you can find their shrine, which is actually at spawn, and summon that Pokemon. And I know that sounds really difficult to get, but you can actually get legendary orbs, I believe, from the vote crates. So Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres are the 3 most captured legendaries on the server. And that's something that I think I actually want to do in this episode, in this 100-day challenge, is to catch at least one of those 3 birds. Now, I know that they're all Generation 1, so one of my goals is to complete the Generation 1 Pokedex, but honestly, guys, there's no way that I complete the entire Pokedex in this 100-day challenge. I think I'm going to get really close, but to get all the legendaries is going to be incredibly difficult. One thing that's really important to know about Pixelmon is that almost every single Pokemon has a respective biome that they spawn in, which means that in order for me to complete the Pokedex, I'm going to have to find almost every single biome. And so right now I am in a mesa, and this is like one of the only times that I guess I'll find a Sandshrew. I think that they actually also spawn in the desert, so maybe this isn't the best example, but there are some Pokemon that exclusively spawn in the mesa. And also, like, let's say some ice biomes as well, which are usually pretty difficult to find. But my point is, it's easy to catch a lot of the Generation 1 Pokemons to start, but as you narrow down towards, like, you know, the end of your adventure of catching those Generation 1 Pokemon, it gets really difficult to find the specific biome, the specific time of the day, and actually to get those Pokemon to spawn. But anyway, guys, I think for now, we should have enough terracotta. We have almost 4 stacks. Let's get the 4 stacks here, and then we can go ahead and complete our house. All right, guys, so I know that I said I'm not a great builder, but I worked really, really hard on this house, and I have to say, I am not surprised at all. This house came out absolutely terribly, and I'm very sorry for everybody that is still watching this video, because you were about to see an abysmal house. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, rip it off like a band-aid, and oh my god. What is this? My gosh, man. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, this is disgusting, and I will move out of this house. And I didn't even get to finish the top of the house because I ran out of quartz, and it's not good. I made all my quartz into stairs, which was not a good investment because now I have no more quartz to finish the top. Not good at all. Well, anyway, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. This doesn't matter because Pixelmon and catching Pokemon is the most important part of this adventure, okay? It's not about how well I can build. That's not what it's about. I think what I'm going to do for my next house, though, which I probably will build pretty soon because this is a disgrace and I don't feel comfortable living here. It actually gives me the creeps. I don't want to walk in this house. I feel like something bad is going to happen while I'm in here. But anyway, for my next build, which will hopefully be better because I haven't really planned it out, but I've at least thought about it. I'm going to make a Pokeball that's like halfway in the ground. So it's going to be like a circle, and then, you know, it's going to be the top half is going to be red. And then when you walk in, there's going to be like a glass layer, but then underneath, it's going to look like it goes down like a Pokeball. So you're walking into a Pokeball. I don't know. I think it could look pretty cool, but knowing my building skills, it's going to look terrible. Oh, there's a boss Pokemon right here. This is something that I completely forgot to mention because they're pretty rare to find. As you can see, the centered is green. And it says boss uncommon. Now, there are a bunch of different tiers of bosses. Uncommon is the most common of the bosses. There's green, there's red, there's yellow, there's orange? I don't even know if orange spawns. I'm pretty sure orange is like legendary. The way that the level works is it takes the highest level in your party and it adds whatever amount the rarity is. So an uncommon boss takes your highest level in your party and adds 5. So as you can see, I have Stallion, who is level 37. And since this is an uncommon boss, it adds 5, it's level 42. And basically what these bosses do is they drop some item. A Destiny Nut! That's actually really good! Destiny Nuts are really good for breeding. There are actually boss towers that you can find in the wild. I've yet to find one, but those boss towers, they do what they say. They spawn a bunch of bosses, and that's a pretty good way to farm up some really good items. And I actually forgot to set my home here, so if I type in /set home, boom, I now have a home. So now if I type /home, boom, it takes me right to my home. So now I can go as far off as I want and always be able to come back to the home. Let me grab all my Pokeballs that I have and we can move out. I did actually see a Ponyta right here and a Meowth. So that's 2 more Pokemon and a Rapidash. That's 3 more Pokemon that we can add to our collection. And there we go. We just caught our Ponyta. Now for the Meowth. Boom, Meowth captured. Boom, we got him on our 2nd try. Let's go. Now what we can do is actually put him in our team. Look at our PC. It's actually filling up really nicely now. Let's get rid of this Rattata. We don't need him anymore. And there's actually a Voltorb here as well. This is like the perfect area for catching Pokemon that are Generation 1. This is great. And boom, now we call a Voltorb. Okay, so one thing that's on my list to do is do a Poke Hunt. This is something that I've never done before, and I'm really excited to try. It's actually, wait, is it /Poke Hunt? I think if I just type in /Poke Hunt, boom. So this is my hunt. I have to catch a Dragonair, which I can tell you is going to be pretty much impossible to catch, an Alcremie, a Clamperl, a Passimian. Guys, I'm not, okay, I don't know what the heck an Alcremie is or a Passimian. Can I get different Pokemon? This is not good. Whoa, if you actually catch it, it tells you how much money you get. So if I catch this guy, I get $3,055. What? That is outrageous. And 19 Pokeballs and 15 rare candies. That is insane. Any Pokemon that is on this list will receive an IV boost when caught. It is also temporarily marked in the wild with red particles. If it has one of the listed natures, you will get greater rewards and a higher IV boost. That is absolutely amazing. All right, so my next goal is to catch a Dragonair because it is Generation 1, which helps my cause, and also it gets me a lot of money and more Pokeballs and rare candy, so I'm definitely gonna go for that. Now, one thing I have to keep in mind is I'm getting pretty low on Pokeballs, so okay, there's a couple things I can do here. One, I can start a farm, an Apricorn Farm, and make my own Pokeballs. Or 2, I can buy Pokeballs. Or 3, I can actually vote some more on the voting links in order to get vote crate keys, which will allow me to actually get some more Pokeballs. So there's actually a multitude of ways of actually getting more Pokeballs. I'm just gonna have to figure out which one works best for me. I really do want to catch this Machoke, but I want to save my Pokeballs though for this Dragonair. Okay, so I found an ocean, which is a really, really good step 1, but the problem is that I really struggle to swim. Now, one solution to that is to actually find or catch a Pokemon that swims, and then you can ride on that Pokemon while it's in the ocean, and that allows you to travel a lot quicker, and I think it actually lets you breathe underwater as well. Oh, there's a Goldeen right here. I really want it, but again, I don't want to waste my Pokeballs on a Pokemon that isn't either one I can swim on or a Dragonair. Oh, let's go! I actually just found a Magikarp level 17. And at first you might be like, wow, who the heck cares? It's just a Magikarp. But 1, first of all, it's another Generation 1 Pokemon. And 2, it's only 3 levels away from evolving into a ginormous Gyarados, which is a Pokemon that I can swim on. So, this is actually really, really good. I'm going to use my 3 rare candies on it, because I think I have like 20 or so. I'm going to use 3 on this thing just so I can get it into a Gyarados, which will allow me to swim, which will hopefully allow me to find some Dragonairs. Boom! Let's go. All right, we got a Magikarp and 3 level. And now it's going to evolve into a ginormous freaking Gyarados. Let's go. And there we go. We now have a Gyarados, which if we right click on him, boom, we can ride and go in the water with. Let's go, dude. This is actually awesome. This is actually a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. There's a ton of Pokemon spawning down here, but it's taking forever to find Dragonite. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if I've been down here for a day already. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Dragonair, or Dragonite, or Dratini, any of the line, is a pseudo-legendary line, which is probably why it costs, or it pays out so much money to actually find one, because they're pseudo-legendary, which means they're not quite a legendary, but they're almost a legendary. They're really, 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 really rare Pokemon. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I've been in the water for about almost an hour now at this point. I haven't caught anything. I've seen a couple things like Krabbies, Goldeens, and a couple other things that I could have caught, but I'm trying to save my Pokeballs for this Dragonair, and, well, he is nowhere to be seen. Oh my god! Oh my god, oh my god! Oh my god, it's a Dragonair! Oh my, yes! Let's go! Finally! I'm actually so lucky that this isn't a Dragonite, or a Dratini, rather. Wait, what level is it? Please tell me it's not that high. It's level 46. Oh, it's got the fire particles. Let's go. So the fire particles are because it is a Pokemon from the Pokehunt. I'm trying to find Pokemon that can maybe tank some hits from it because it's going to one-shot almost everything. No, dude, it waited so long. Oh, and it forced me out of battle. What? It used like Whirlwind or something and it forced me out of battle. All right, here we go again. Come on, Quick Ball, please, 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 please. Like, stop doing this to me and just catch. Stop. Come on, stop messing around. Yes! Oh my god, it worked! Let's go! Oh my gosh! Let's go! I did it! I received 3,000 coins! And I got 15 rare candies as well. Let's go. Oh my gosh, I can finally get out of this ocean. Let me go home. I need to take a breather. That was one of the worst experiences of my entire life. Turns out once you catch one, it randomizes. So, and I also, none of these Pokemon are Gen 1. So I'm going to leave it there. So there is the Pokehunt crossed off the list of objectives to do. We still have to beat a gym and also try to complete the Generation 1 Pokedex and also get a legendary Pokemon. So there still is quite a few things that we need to do. What I'm gonna do now is actually start an Apricorn Farm. So here's an Apricorn here. And it's not ready to be, what is it? Harvested. That's the word. But basically, the best way to find apricorns in the wild is to go into the woods like so, and you'll just find random apricorns like so. And there we go, we got a blue one. Oh, so there's actually a legendary orb that is $4,000. If you guys remember, we got after we completed the Poke Hunt, we got $3,000. So we have a decent amount of money. I just got to figure out how to get that last 1,000 so we can buy a legendary orb. And then after we buy the legendary orb, we can combine it with, let's say, a Thunderstone. And then after we eliminate around 350 Pokemon, we can then spawn in a Zapdos, which hopefully we can catch. That would be the legendary objective crossed off our list. Also, the first gym is a flying type gym. So if I do get my hands on a Zapdos, that gym should be fairly easy to take out. So after using all of my Pokeballs, I did manage to catch myself quite a bit more Pokemon. As you can see, our box goes the entire first box and then also into the second box. So we're doing pretty well on the front of catching all of the first 151 Pokemon. However, there's still so many more to capture. If you hit I on your keyboard, that brings up the actual Pokédex. As you can see, I have none of the starter Pokemon, but I have a lot of like the beginning Pokemon. And then you'll see there's still a ton of black silhouettes of Pokemon that not only I have not caught, but I haven't even seen yet. And I also have no Pokeballs. So I think what I'm gonna do instead of buying that legendary orb is I think I'm gonna buy some Pokeballs. Let's see. So we have $3,100. Pokeballs are only $11. Now I know that these are the worst ones, but look at how many we can actually buy. Okay, what I might do is actually try to catch some of these guys because they do give out a lot of money, actually. It's probably worth trying to catch some. So I'm gonna go try to find a Pineco. I'm fairly sure that they spawn in the extreme hills. So let me try to find one. Oh, let's go. Okay, so we actually found a Palo-Sand, which is one of the Pokemon on the wait, it is, right? / Poke Hunt. Palo-Sand. Okay, yes, perfect. But let's see if we can catch this thing. And this is perfect because we have Dragonite who's level 55, who, like I said, is going to be able to do a good amount of damage against Pokemon like this, who are also very high leveled. Oh, and we caught him first try. Let's go. Don't sleep on a Great Ball or a Pokeball. They're still low-key pretty good. But there we go. So we now, did we get money? Wait, we didn't get any money. Why didn't we? Oh, it has to be the exact nature too. No. That is so unlucky. Oh, maybe we can find another one with the correct nature. Oh, okay. I think that we found another one. Here we go. Okay, so yep, it is all fiery, which means it is a go. Boom, let's go. We caught it. Let's go. And it gave us 14 Ultra Balls. I think that we only used 4 Great Balls total between those two Pokemon. Let's go. Wait, so I guess it was the correct nature. And there we go. Oh, a ferret. Those are so easy to find. Let's go. After about 10 minutes or so of searching for a Pineco, I decided to call it quits because I wasn't entirely sure where Pineco spawned. And I knew for a fact it would be pretty easy to find a ferret. In fact, the easiest way for me probably was to go back home. So that's exactly what I did as they spawn in the plains. And here we go. It literally took me 30 seconds to find a ferret. Hopefully it's the right nature. And with our first Great Ball, we did manage to capture the ferret, and he had the correct nature. So we got another 1,800 coins, which puts us up at 4,000 coins. That, I believe, is enough to get ourselves the orb, the legendary orb. So this is actually amazing. So we can go ahead and purchase the orb, and boom, there we go. We now have an orb in our hands. That's not the last step though. There still are quite a few steps before we can summon a Zapdos in. We still have to get our hands on a Thunderstone, and we also have to eliminate another about 350 Pokemon or so in order to fill up the orb with Pokemon Souls. So the Poke Hunts were going really well for me, so I checked them again, and there's a core fish in here that gives you $2,000, which is a ton of money for a relatively easy Pokemon to catch. Okay, so if you type in /pwiki space any Pokemon in the entire game, it comes up with this Pixelmon wiki that shows you where it spawns, what it's weak to, all of its stats, and a bunch of other really interesting things. So if you're ever not sure about anything about a Pokemon, just type in /wiki space the Pokemon. It even tells you the entire moveset. It's pretty epic. But anyway, it does say that it spawns in the ocean on land during the day. So I think my best case is to try to find an island in the middle of the ocean. So it's still technically an ocean biome, but so that the core fish still spawns on land. Whoa, there was just lightning right here. Oh my gosh. If there was a Magikarp, it would be as, oh my god, it's a Magikarp. Wait, is it a zombie Magikarp? If a Magikarp gets struck by lightning, it becomes a zombie Magikarp. Oh, wow. That would have been so epic if that happened. It actually took a little bit longer than I thought that it would. But let's go ahead and catch the thing. It's like level 15. Should not be an issue whatsoever. And boom, just like that, we made another 2,000 coins. Guys, if you do join the server, honestly, the best way to make money is by doing the Poke Hunts. I don't feel like too many people know about it, but they are epic, and it's a really easy way to make some money. Let's check what the new core fish update is. Oh, a Bellsprout! That is easy cash, baby! Let's go! And, oh, there we go. We finally caught a Bellsprout that that had the correct nature. So there we go. We got 800 coins, and we also got 15 level balls, which is pretty good. Now, even though Bellsprout was literally the easiest Pokemon of any of the Poke Hunts I've done, it was the most challenging for some reason to find the correct nature of it. So that's something that I definitely have to take into consideration. Is I think I've been getting really, really lucky with the Poke Hunts so far. Maybe it's not as easy as I thought. But if you look, I've actually caught a ton of these stinking Bellsprouts to finally get the one that gave me 800 coins, which is enough, hopefully, I think, to go /Warp Mart and buy myself a Thunderstone. And here we go. A Thunderstone is $500. Wait, we have 3K? How did we get 3K? Oh, wait, no. Okay, we got money from the core fish. That's right. Okay. So anyway, now we have an orb. If we put that in a crafting bench and then the Thunderstone, you'll see that it turns into the Orb of Static Souls. Now, when I have this in my hotbar, every single time that I kill a Pokemon, its soul will go into the orb. Now, the best way to do it is definitely to drop down straight from spawn and go into the first room that I basically went into in this episode, which if you drop down twice, you go right to it, because all the Pokemon here are on level 1. And so now I basically just need to absolutely destroy a butt ton of Wellrains, and that orb will be full. As you can see, as I'm killing these Machops here, that the legendary orb is filling up. That is a little bit over halfway. I've been killing these things for a very, very long time. All right, and we are on the home stretch of completing this Orb of Static Souls. I don't know how many exactly we have left, but it's not much. As you can see, the durability is very, very low, and we have to get the durability to 0 in order for it to be completely full. Now, as you can see, Swampert has gained almost 5 levels from killing level 1 Pokemon. That is how you know I've killed way too many of these stinking things. Oh, a Regice is spawned in the war zone. Holy crap. Wait, that's actually awesome. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably expecting me to go and battle the Zapdos right away, right now, but you would be mistaken, because Zapdos spawns at level 70, and I don't have a Pokemon over level 57. So for me to battle this thing, I'm definitely gonna have to get some better Pokemon so that I can actually injure it and maybe get some status effects on it before actually attempting to battle it. Because if I can't catch it, then it's going to get away and I will never be able to catch it again. And I did not just spend the last hour, maybe even more than that, of my day filling up this orb just for the stinking Zapdos to run away. So I'm gonna make sure I'm prepared, fully prepared, before engaging in battle with that thing. But anyway, I need a break from this whole Zapdos thing. My brain is hurting, I'm tired, and I'm going to move on. So what I'm gonna do is actually work on my Pokeball home. I'm completely giving up on this project. It's a lost cause. You know, it's the first thing that I built though, so I feel like I'm just gonna leave it as a tribute to my little town that I've created, and it will never be forgotten. So, live on, King, live on. I needed some more quartz, so I decided to find another village and absolutely destroy the Pokemart and the Poke Center. So after taking some time off playing Pixelmon and actually building, I thought I would actually get to something pretty useful. Turns out I spent another way too long on a project that really did not deserve that much time. I'm about to turn around and show you what I've been working on. Well, I told you guys what I've been working on, but it just did not come out the way that I expected. So if I turn around, you'll see that's my Pokeball. Yeah. It's bad. It's really bad. I don't know why it looks so blocky. I thought I did like circle stuff. The one cool thing is I try to do like that milky effect when you look down with like the white stained glass. That's probably the coolest part. But when you look up, It's just not good. It's not good, and I'm ashamed of myself. I don't know. I don't understand how to build in this game. I've played this game for about 8 years now, and I still just don't understand it. So what I'm going to do is go on an absolute massive spree of catching Pokemon because I'm tired of building, and I'm just going to figure something else out. There's actually a Macargo that is still in the Poke Hunt. Well, guys, it has been some time since I've seen you last. I decided not to put too much grinding in the video just because I don't want this video to be insanely long. As is, it's probably already going to be, if I had to guess, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour maybe longer. But anywho, I have been out and about catching Pokemon for a very long time. And I've also been doing Poke Hunts, not just catching Pokemon. So, with those Poke Hunts, I'm up to $7,900, and I have a ton of rare candies now as well. But I've made unbelievable progress on our journey to completing the first generation, and I will say there's no way that we finished. Like, there's just no chance. But check this out, guys. Unfortunately, I've somehow not found any of these starter Pokemon. Literally none. But look at this. I've completed so much. Now, in the beginning, the more common Pokemon, so it sort of makes sense that I'm able to do the beginning ones for the most part. There are some bits and bobs that I've missed. But for the most part, I think I've done pretty freaking well. But the more I scroll, the more blacks you'll start to see. The more rare they get. Like, there's a Ditto. I haven't found any Eevees yet. 0 of them. I haven't done any fossil hunting, so I don't have the Ammonite, Amistar, Aerodactyl, or Kabuto. And then you just have Snorlax, and then a bunch of legendary Pokemon. And then we have Dratini that I don't have, Dragonair, and Dragonite. Dragonite is actually after Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. That's how rare that Dragonair is. So, I hope that puts that a little bit into perspective as to why I was so happy to find him. But anyway, that was a lot of work. That was, yeah, way too much work. It's actually been a couple of days in real life since I've seen you guys last. I'm actually really low on Pokeballs now as well from all the Pokemon that I've caught. Now, the Poke Hunts were really helpful because every time they give you around like 12 to 16 Pokeballs-ish. So that's why I was doing those. It also gave me some money, so I figured it was definitely a good thing to do. But one thing that we're really close to, guys, is evolving our shiny Marshtomp, aka Swampbutt, into a Swampert. So he only needs 3 more levels, and I haven't even really been training him. All the levels you got was mostly just from catching Pokemon, because when you catch Pokemon, you actually do get the levels or the experience from it, as if you just killed that Pokemon. So anyway, let's grab all these rare candies. We have a ton of rare candies, again, from the Poke Hunts. The Poke Hunts are OP, guys. Like, never stop doing Poke Hunts because they are literally too good. But anyway, the rare candies, let's go ahead and apply 3 of them to the boy. And yeah, let's go. He's now evolving into a Swampert, which is obviously a really good Pokemon. We don't have a Mega Ring for him yet. I haven't found any Mega Pokemon. Hopefully we find a Mega Pokemon soon, though, and we can get a Mega Ring. That would be pretty epic. But until then, we will not be able to Mega Evolve anything. Actually, we probably should use a lot more of these rare candies. Now, one thing that I'm about to do actually is battle the very first gym, which is a flying type gym. I believe Swampbutt does. Oh, no, he already knows Rock Slide, so I'm definitely gonna bring Swampbutt. Now the level cap is 25 for the gym. I'm pretty sure you can bring in Pokemon that are higher level than 25, but it just brings your level down to 25, so you can't actually like bring level 100 into the first gym, because that would just be unfair. So I'm gonna try to find Pokemon that I've caught that have like rock type moves and try to come up with a team that would be best for against flying. All right, so here's the team that I picked out: Swampbutt, Graveler, Magneton, Dragonite, Rapidash, and Raichu. I don't even really know why I picked Rapidash. I think it was mostly because it was already in my party, but I guess Fire Blast is pretty good to have. But anyway, after we battle this gym, assuming that we win at least, then I'm going to do the Zapdos spawn. We are running pretty low on time though, so we're not gonna have too much time to get all of this done. But one thing that I definitely needed to do before going for that Zapdos is, one, leveling up my Pokemon, which will be relatively easy since I have 100 and, I don't know, almost 120 rare candies. But also, I'm going to need to spend a lot of my money, which I have a decent amount of, on Pokeballs, so that I'll obviously be able to catch the dang thing. I'm definitely going to level up Raichu a lot, though, because he has the move Thunder Wave, which paralyzes your opponent, which is going to be very, very important in... Oh, wait, but I can't paralyze Zapdos because he's electric type. Maybe... Okay, I'm gonna have to find a Pokemon that knows like Hypnosis or something. Maybe I'll get my Hypno out. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and type in /gyms, and that brings up this amazing little GUI, and then we can click on Flying Gym, and here are the gym leaders. Oh, it actually makes me select my team. It's not just who I have in my party. Okay, so we're just gonna go these top 6. Okay. Oh, this is so cool. What the heck? It fills in the entire, like, Pokemon down there. Okay, let's just go these top 6 and then start battle. Oh my god. And here we go. We are now at the Flying Gym. This is crazy. There's probably a way to warp here. I'm just at the leader right now. Okay, so he has a Gliscor. I thought that this gym was level 25. Apparently, it's level 30. That is really awkward. But Swamp Butt is going to go ahead and do a big rock throw. Wow, that did nothing. Wow. Okay, this is bad. That was supposed to do a lot more. Water Gun actually might do more because Gliscor is really good at physical defense. There we go. And Water Gun is a special move. Wow. Okay. He did also put a Stealth Rocks up, which means that every time I switch into another Pokemon, it's going to do 1/8 of my health to start. So that is definitely not good. Well, let's Rock Slide here. It's going to be super effective. I think Togekiss might kill me in this first turn. But let's see. Oh, a Rock Slide does a lot. And he flinched! That's actually really good for us. We're going to be able to get another Rock Slide in, and we missed. I mean, I guess it only is fair for me to miss there. Oh, and it sets all of our Pokemon to level 30. I don't even think Graveler was level 30, but no, that's pretty cool. Sweet. Okay, so I definitely don't want to go to Dragonite because Togekiss is super effective. Let's go to Magcargo, and we can use Rock Throw. If I land, I'll kill his, but if he lands first, he'll probably kill me. And he doesn't. And boom, we kill it in one hit. Let's go. Okay. This is going swimmingly. All right, let's do another Dragon Rush. And he kills me in one hit. Oh, okay, perfect. I have Magneton. We can Spark, and it's dead. Get out of here. Get out of here, Pelipper. Oh, I'm confused, and I hit myself in confusion. That is actually so unlucky. He used U-turn, goes to Hawlucha, and Spark does a ton of damage again. Come on, let me go first, and please don't hit myself in confusion. Nice! No, it's good. Okay, I stepped out of confusion. I killed him. This is a beautiful thing. Oh, wait, surely I outspeed a Pelipper, right? Come on. Magneton is normally really fast. Come on, and boom! Let's go, dude! So we've actually won our first ever gym battle challenge. That is... Let's go. That's actually so good. Nice. So now I have a gym badge. But guys, look, this is actually the Flying Gym. There's a little airplane here. And yeah, it's a nice little place. Now, I don't know if I'd be able to take out the next gym because, first of all, I think that they're level 40, and I don't have too many level 40s. Let me actually see what gym type it is. It is ground type, which I don't think... Yeah, I don't really have too many, like, water type Pokemon or grass type, so I'm not really sure how good I'd be against it. So now what I'm gonna do is buy some Pokeballs. Oh, wow, I just got 10K from beating that gym. Okay, that is really, really good. Because now I'm going to be able to buy a ton of Ultra Balls, 109, on top of what we already had. Should be pretty gosh dang good. All right, so now we are at the shrines. I do have the Orb of Static Souls on me to put into the Zapdos shrine. Before I do that, though, I do want to get my Drowsy out and put a bunch of levels on him. I have him somewhere. Or my Hypno. He's on level 30, though. I'm pretty sure he knows. Yes, okay, so he knows Hypnosis. So he's going to be my primary guy to put Zapdos to sleep. So first things first, I'm going to put a ton of levels onto Swamp Butt, mostly because he's my starter, so I feel like he deserves all the love that he can get. So I'm going to go ahead and pile a crap ton of these on him. I'll actually even make him level 100, because why not? Maybe I'll only make him level 80 for this battle, because I want him to still be able to damage Zapdos without actually killing him. So level 80 will do for now. There we go. I actually feel really bad for putting so many rare candies on a Hypno. He's now level 81, but it's all good. I'm going to put the rest of my rare candies on the Dragonite. Hopefully he can just tank. Well, guys, I mean, this is the most prepared that I'm ever going to be in order to catch myself a legendary Pokemon. I have a level 80 Swampert, a level 85 Dragonite, and a level 81 Hypno. And this guy spawns level 70, so I think we should be good to go. I have a ton of Pokeballs as well. I don't have any Quick Balls, which normally you're supposed to throw a Quick Ball at a legendary on the first turn. I'm kind of nervous. I've been grinding this like crazy the past couple of days, and I feel like that everything that I've been doing sort of amounts to right here and right now. Oh, let's go. Okay, we did it. Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. All right, all right, all right. Please don't kill it, buddy. All right. Is Muddy Water gonna kill it? Oh my gosh, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna do so much. Oh my gosh, he avoided the attack. I'm actually so nervous. I feel, for some reason, I feel like Muddy Water is gonna do so much to it. Please don't kill it. Please don't. Guys, I don't know what to do. Okay, let's try. Let's try to do Graveler. Now, I know this is kind of a stretch, but he's only using Light Screen here. So, let's do some Smackdowns. Because, yeah, his Discharge doesn't affect me. So maybe, okay, so he knows Light Screen, Discharge, and Rain Dance. That's 3 moves that do nothing to Graveler. Okay, this is perfect. This could actually be really good. This could be really good. I don't know if he knows... Yeah, I don't think he knows any moves that can touch Graveler. This is perfect. So we're just going to keep on smacking down until he is in the red. This really couldn't be any better. It couldn't be any better. Now, he does know Discharge, which is going to hurt Hypno. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I think I might be able to get one more Smackdown in, but there's a chance that I critical hit, and if I do that, well, then he's dead. So, we're going to go into Hypno, and we are going to do a bunch of Hypnosises. I got to make sure I click the right one, because if I didn't, well, then the Zapdos would definitely die. All right, well, the Hypno plan did not work at all. He is dead after like 2 turns, so I literally wasted like 50 rare candies on him for absolutely nothing. I'm a little bit worried that he's going to start using Struggle soon. Struggle's a move that when you have no more PP left in your moves, which is when you use all of your moves, then your Pokemon starts to use Struggle because it has nothing else left to use, and it does damage to yourself. And so if he starts doing damage to himself, he's going to die. Yes! Oh my god! Let's go! I finally caught it! Oh, I think I started that with 120, around 120 Ultra Balls. I'm down to 67. Oh my goodness, that took freaking forever. Hey, this guy just gave me an Orb of Fiery Souls. Well, guys, that is basically going to be it for today's video. This was a ton of work to record, but it was a lot of fun. We ended up completing a lot of our tasks, which were to 1, catch a legendary Pokemon, and we got Zapdos. 2, to beat a gym, and we beat the flying gym. Number 3 was to complete a Poke Hunt, which we actually did quite a few of those. And then the last one was to complete the entire Generation 1 Pokédex. Unfortunately, we did not finish the Pokédex, but we did make quite a bit of progress. This is a lot more than I thought it was going to be honest. This took forever. But guys, this was so much fun to record, and if you guys want to see the next 100 days on the server, be sure to let me know by leaving a like rating and also commenting that down below. Also, if you guys do want to join me in my adventures, the IP to the server is in the description down below, along with a link to a video that I've uploaded on how to install Pixelmon. So if that is something you're interested in, be sure to go ahead and join the server. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it. Thank you all so much for joining me in this adventure, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you, dudes! Tell me what 2 games you think are the greatest of all time. If your answer is Minecraft and Pokemon, I would agree with you. What if I told you that you can combine these 2 games into one? Well, you can, with a Minecraft mod called Pixelmon. Welcome to my second 100 days playing this mod. In my first 100 days, I gave myself 4 different goals. The first one was to complete the entire Generation 1 Pokédex, which consisted of 151 Pokemon. The second goal was to capture a single legendary Pokemon. The third one was to beat a gym, and the fourth one was to complete a Poke Hunt. The regular Pixelmon mod does not offer gyms or Poke Hunts, so I decided to play my journey on the Poke Smash network. This server offers a ton of amazing features, including 8 gyms, a safari, battle towers, tournaments for real-life money, a war zone where legendary and custom shadow Pokemon have a high chance of spawning, but when you battle other players, the winner can steal your Pokemon. It also offers a Pokehunt challenge where you have to catch specific Pokemon with a specific nature within a certain time frame to claim an epic reward. Also, there is a Pokemon Hunger Games that is coming very, very soon, and I cannot wait to play it. There's a lot more that the server offers, but those are just some highlights. Anyway, in my first 100 days, I managed to capture one legendary, which was a Zapdos. I managed to beat a gym and complete a Pokehunt. Unfortunately though, I was unable to complete the entire Generation 1 Pokedex, but I did make some good progress. In these next 100 days, I gave myself another 3 goals. My first goal was to get a Pokemon to reach level 100, which is the max level. My second goal was to go to the war zone and catch a shadow Pokemon. That goal is going to be very risky because players can battle me and steal any of my Pokemon. And the third and final goal is to finally complete the Generation 1 Pokedex. Before we get into this video, please do me a favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Only 16.5% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, and it would really, really mean a lot to me if you guys could do so. But anyway, guys, I hope that you all enjoy, and let's get into the next 100 days. So the first thing that I wanted to do in these next 200 days was set a warp to my house. This way a bunch of players could join me and build around the town. So what I did next was I told the entire server to go to /warp Siren and build Pokemon themed stuff to make my town look good. Because as you guys know, I'm not the greatest builder and the only thing I've really built so far was 2 dinky little structures. Oh, and look, we've already got some people here. I will say for whatever reason, you guys really thought this house was pretty good, even though I don't think so, along with this Pokeball. And already off the bat, I've already accrued quite a few players that will hopefully build some amazing structures in the town, and they just keep swarming in. So now that I got an entire crew that will hopefully build a ton of stuff here, oh my gosh, they just keep coming. Now, one problem with this is I might get griefed and they might steal all my stuff, but I'm really hoping that everyone here is a good Samaritan and they don't do that. But this will allow me to go on my Pokemon adventure and hopefully come back to my house only to see incredible progress in the town. So as I said earlier, one of my objectives is to complete the entire Generation 1 Pokedex. We're really close. If we do check our Pokedex, the only things we don't have is our starters, a couple of things here and there, but most importantly, we don't have any of the legendaries. So I'm going to start off this next 100 days with a bang. The first thing I'm going to do is get the orb for the Articuno because we already have the Moltres orb, and then I'm going to fill both of them up and battle both of them and hopefully catch them both as well. So I'm having a look on the GTS for an orb. Normally there is an orb somewhere, but I'm not actually seeing any right now. So I asked if anyone was selling an orb, and this guy said he was. Check out this base. It's actually amazing. I'm going to go ahead and pay this guy $4,000 because that's how much I paid for my last one. And there we go. So now I have another orb. And the next thing I did was go to Warp Mart. This way I could buy an Ice Stone because that is what you have to combine with the orb in order to make a orb for Articuno. So now I have the Orb of Frozen Souls and also the Orb of Fiery Souls. The one thing I wasn't sure of when starting this off was whether or not both of the orbs will fill up at the same time or if only one of the orbs fills up at once. Ideally, they would both fill up, but I wasn't sure at the time. But anyway, if you guys didn't watch my first 100 days, basically the way that you fill these orbs up is you have to eliminate 375 Pokemon after you've made this specific orb. So I am most definitely going to be here for a while, killing all of these Pokemon. So after earthquaking my favorite Pokemon, Ludicolo, into a new dimension for about 30 minutes, I quickly realized that the orbs only fill up one at a time. As you can see in my hotbar, the durability for the Frozen Souls orb is the only one going down. The Fiery Souls is staying exactly where it was, which means that I'm gonna have to kill even more of my favorite Pokemon, Ludicolo. So after the Orb of Frozen Souls was a little bit over halfway full, I decided to start EV training my Pokemon instead of just killing Ludicolos. This way, I'm kind of doing 2 birds with 1 stone. So now my Zapdos is going to be fully EV trained while me getting the Orb of Frozen Souls up. So finally, after a really long time of filling up this orb, it's finally just about full, but I never really knew exactly how to tell if it is full or not, so I decided to keep on bashing some of these Cinderaces until I was 100% sure that the orb was full. The next thing I did was go back home because I wanted to see if there was any progress on the town. And unfortunately, there wasn't too much, but some people were building around. And it actually looks like there was a sign that said that there was a battlefield here. It's not much of a battlefield, but it gets the job done, I suppose. Then, to prepare for my fight with Articuno, I opened a couple of Vote Crate keys, and I got a lot of Ultra Balls, Great Balls, Timer Balls, Dusk Balls, Rare Candies, and a couple of other things that will help me in this battle. And so, here we are. We're still pretty early on in our 100 days, and we're already in a legendary battle. I was a little bit nervous going into this battle because I knew that Articuno would be able to damage all of my Pokemon. I was also a little bit worried about using Thundershock with Zapdos because I thought it might kill the Articuno, but luckily it actually not only did a ton of damage to it without killing it, but it also paralyzed him. I really couldn't have asked for anything more. So the next thing I did was throw an Ultra Ball at it because I couldn't damage him anymore with Zapdos without killing him. So I figured Zapdos would probably just have to die at this point. Unfortunately, this does not give me too much time to catch this guy. If you guys remember, it took Zapdos about 70 Ultra Balls for me to catch him. So then I went to Magneton because I wanted to try to get a little bit more damage out, but unfortunately, I misclicked and I accidentally clicked on Thunder Wave, which was not good. Then I risked it for the biscuit and went for Spark, but it actually didn't end up doing as much as I thought it would, which is probably good. Still though, Articuno wasn't in the red, which is not good. When you're catching a Pokemon, you always want them to be in the red and either paralyzed or asleep. And so what I tried to do next was a Rock Throw with level 29 Graveler, and he actually hung on with Sturdy and did a lot of damage. Now this is perfect. Articuno is now 1 HP and paralyzed, so if I don't catch him now, there's really nothing that I could have done differently. And so eventually Swampert did die, which means I have to go to my Dragonite, but unfortunately Articuno is ×4 effective against Dragonite, and so he did not survive very long. And so last up was our Hypno, who was level 81, which probably in hindsight was a terrible idea to level him up in the last episode. I probably should have spent my rare candies on another Pokemon, but unfortunately, he is the last Pokemon that we have. And so I was really, really nervous about this because I just spent so much time trying to get into this battle with the Articuno, and for me to not even catch him would be very sad. Unfortunately for me, this is the last chance that I have at catching the Articuno because it's going to kill me in the next hit, and there we go. So we lost to the Articuno. So I ended up actually finding the Articuno. He fell off the shrine and was all the way at the bottom. At the time, I thought that when you battle these legendaries that they despawned after the fight. It turns out that they don't. So that made me much happier. And I captured him on my very first Pokeball. He wasn't even in the red or paralyzed. Sometimes I really don't understand how this game works. And so there we go. Now we have an Articuno and a Zapdos. It looks like someone sent me a Dialga as well. The original trainer to this was Tinny. Thank you, Tinny, for sending this to me. After that exhilarating battle, my spirits were really high, and it made me really want to complete the trifecta and capture a Moltres. So what I did for the next very long time was fill up my Orb of Fiery Souls. And I knew that this would take a ton of Minecraft days to complete, but this is something that I just really wanted to rip off like a band-aid and get out of the way. So after an exhausting, very, very long time of Eevee training my Articuno, the Orb of Fiery Souls was finally ready. And so I warped home to go and get some revives and potions and stuff, only to find that a lot of my stuff was stolen. This is mostly my fault though, because I forgot to claim my chests. And so I decided to go to the mart and buy some potions for this battle. I decided to stock up on a bunch of revives because they were relatively cheap, and it's really important to keep as many Pokemon alive as possible in these battles. I also decided to get a bunch of fresh water because I'm pretty sure that they heal your Pokemon by 50 health points, and they were only $10. The next thing I did was look on the GTS for an XP all because I really wanted to get all of my Pokemon to a higher level before taking on this Moltres. Unfortunately, I didn't find one. So apparently the best way to get an XP all is to go to the boss tower, which you can get to by typing in /warp boss tower. This will take you to this area right here, where you can actually battle a ton of bosses where they drop you really rare loot. One thing you do have to be careful about when you battle these bosses though is that they're really high level and normally very strong. It does seem like this Clefable is not really able to hurt me much, but it's taking me forever to kill it. So after we destroyed that Clefable, we actually managed to get a Macho Brace and a Prism Scale, neither of which I found too valuable. There's actually multiple stories to the boss tower. If you go on the teleporter block and crouch or jump, it will take you up to the next levels. And then I found another legendary Clefable. Unfortunately, this one knew Moonblast, which was really, really bad for me and made it very difficult for me to actually beat it. But in the end, I did, and it actually gave me King's Rock and a Scope Lens. Again, not what I'm looking for. Then I got Never Melt Ice and a Weakness Policy. So it turns out the bosses I was fighting before were either rare or uncommon, but I thought that they were legendary. And then I found this Vaporeon that was level 105 because this is actually a legendary boss. Luckily, Zapdos was super effective against the Vaporeon and did a ton of damage and ended up killing it. Unfortunately for me, I still did not get my XP all, but I did get an Iron Plate, a Macho Brace, and an Assault Vest. If I'm able to collect all the different plates, I can actually summon Arceus, so this is a good start. Then I got an Electrizer, Fairy Gem, another Prism Scale, and another Macho Brace, Zoom Lens, a Metronome, and a Steel Gem, another Macho Brace and Lax Incense, an Eviolite, Razor Claw, and Dust Stone, Dawnstone, Dragon Scale, and Splash Plate, Normal Gem, Steel Gem, Dragon Fang, and Dusk Stone again, Safety Goggles and Shed Shell, a Leaf Stone, another Macho Brace and Flame Orb, a Smooth Rock, another Prism Scale and Focus Band, Rocky Helmet and Rock Incense, Silver Powder and Sharp Beak, Mystic Water, Reaper Cloth and another Rock Incense, Toxic Orb and Electric Gem, Psychic Gem, Magmarizer, Dark Gem, Luck Incense, Razor Claw, Firestone, Zoom Lens, and Electric Gem, until I looked on the GTS again and found that there was actually an XPL listed, but it was for 4K, which I think is pretty expensive, but at the same time, I really, really wanted it. So I confirmed my purchase, and there we go. I now have an XPL. So even though it seemed like all that Battle Tower training was for nothing, I actually did get a ton of items. Here are all the items that I got from that Battle Tower training. Some of these are going to be really useful in battles. The next thing that I'm going to do is select a couple Pokemon that I would like to level up, specifically for battling Moltres and eventually Mew. I decided to bring Rhyhorn and Nidoking onto the team. To activate the XPL, all you have to do is right click and then it's activated. And so now every time I eliminate any Pokemon, my entire team splits the XP. So what I did for the next very, very long time was train in the area underneath spawn, because there are some Pokemon here that are very, very high leveled. And just like that, my Pokemon were leveling up really quickly. Articuno learned Ice Beam, Rhyhorn learned Takedown, Rhyhorn evolved into Rhydon, and also learned Hammer Arm, Zapdos learned Roost, and a couple other Pokemon learned other moves in general. But after grinding for a very, very, very long time, my team was finally a pretty solid level. Zapdos was level 85, Articuno was level 84, Rhydon was now level 67, Dragonite at 94, Nidoking at 73, and Swampert at 93. I still don't have any level 100s, but we can probably finish off those levels with some rare candies a little bit later. Now it's time to battle Moltres. So the next thing I did, of course, is warp to the shrines and look for the Moltres shrine. Before I started, I realized that I forgot all of my revives and all my potions, and so I went home real quick to grab those. Now that I had all my heals and revives, it was time to place the legendary orb into the shrine. The first Pokemon that I sent out against the Moltres was my Nidoking, and this is because I was pretty sure that any of my other Pokemon would just one-shot the Moltres. And so what I did was I used Nidoking and I used Chip Away a couple times. Unfortunately, my Nidoking died in 2 hits because Moltres was a lot stronger than I thought he was going to be. Then I quickly switched to my Rhydon, and I didn't want to use Stone Edge because I thought it would kill it in 1 hit. And so I went for a Mega Horn, but unfortunately that did next to nothing, and Rhydon was about to die. But I did remember that when I caught the Articuno, it still had a lot of HP and 0 status effects, so I tried my luck and it didn't work. And so when I thought that I had a flawless plan, it turned out it really didn't work out too well. I went for a Gust with the Articuno, which actually didn't do too much damage, which was perfect, and I went for another one, which was really risky, but it paid off because now Moltres was essentially 1 HP. And the next thing to do now was just to throw as many Ultra Balls as I possibly could at the Moltres until it caught. Someone in chat told me to spam B while I was trying to catch this guy, and so I was just spamming B. Unfortunately, it didn't really seem to make a difference. And my last Pokemon was Zapdos. I finally just remembered that I had a bunch of revives and heals, so I decided to revive Swampert and a couple other of my members of the team. And the server crashed when I was mid-battle. This couldn't have been any more unfortunate. So, because the server crashed while I was mid-fight, I spoke to one of the managers, and he actually spawned me in another Moltres for me. This was kind of annoying, though, because I had the Moltres in the red and in a perfect position the first time around, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get as lucky the second time. Luckily, though, we were able to get him back into the red, not as deep as last time, but still good enough to hopefully catch him. After throwing Pokeballs at this guy for ages, I was already down to my last Pokemon again, so I decided to use a couple more revives. At this point, I'd already run out of Ultra Balls, and I was getting kind of desperate. What I decided to do was actually run from the battle and get my Raichu out from my PC. This will allow me to ensure that I paralyze the Moltres because he has Thunder Wave. So I thought, and it didn't even work. And eventually the Moltres used Struggle and killed itself. So after that horrible loss, I decided to go to sleep and pick things up the next day. So it was the next day, and at my house, there wasn't really any progress on any builds, unfortunately. I was really hoping for this to turn into something like crazy. So not only did we never even get to capture the Articuno, but we also didn't get an amazing town like I was hoping. So far, this second 100 days did not go very well. But that didn't stop me. Since I was fed up with going for legendary Pokemon, I decided to hunt for more of the regular Pokemon in the Pokedex that I still have yet to catch. So as I was hunting, the Pokemon I was hunting specifically for were the starters, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander. And luckily, I actually found a Bulbasaur pretty quickly. And my plan was, after I caught all three of them, that I would go back to spawn and evolve all of them with the XP All. Shortly after that, I got really lucky and ran into an Eevee. Now, Eevees are basically just as rare as starter Pokemon as far as I know. But it's really important that we get at least 2 Eevees. This way we can breed them. Because as I'm sure you know, there's a bunch of different Eevee evolutions. And so we're going to have to breed a bunch of these and then evolve all of them into their relative different evolution. So this was definitely a good start. I actually captured him in the first Pokeball that I threw, which was very, very lucky again. As I was exploring, I actually found a jungle, which is fairly rare, along with a mesa right next to each other. But the importance of finding a jungle is actually very, very important because this is where Mew spawns. And obviously, we're going to need to eventually find Mew. This way we can capture it and turn it into a Mewtwo with the cloning machine. So what I did was I set a home here. I typed in /set home jungle. This way, if I ever need to, I can just type in /home jungle and go straight to the jungle to hopefully find a Mew. And after searching the extreme hills for a very long time, I finally found a Charmander. Oh, finding these Pokemon took a very, very long time. After catching the Charmander, the very last starter that I needed to catch in this generation was a Squirtle, so I needed to find a beach biome. And even though I love long walks on the beach, this walk was a little bit too far before I finally found myself a Squirtle. Oh, it was such relief. And that meant that I have all 3 of the starter Pokemon. So what I did next was I went to the training area where I could battle really high levels. I turned on my XP All and I let Swampbutt do his thing and destroy Pokemon left, right, and center. Already after the first battle, all of my Pokemon were learning a bunch of new moves and evolving. Charmander evolved into Charmeleon, Bulbasaur evolved into Ivysaur, and lastly, Squirtle evolved into Wartortle. And eventually, Ivysaur evolved into Venusaur, Charmeleon evolved into Charizard, and Wartortle evolved into a Blastoise. Now, my Pokedex was completely finished on the first page, and so there wasn't really too much left for me to do as far as catching regular Pokemon. So the next thing I did was actually go to buy a ranch block. What these blocks do is they actually allow you to breed your Pokemon together. Unfortunately, they're really expensive. They're $2,500, and so now I was left with just $966. So the reason I bought the ranch block was so that I could breed my Eevees together and get all of the Eeveelutions. The problem is it's really, really rare to find a female Eevee, and the one I caught was a male. I found a couple of other Eevees, but they were all male as well. And so what I ended up doing was asking anyone on the server if anyone has a Bad Ivy cheap female Eevee for sale. So in chat, I said that I would buy a female Eevee for $900, which is very, very cheap, by the way. And someone sold me one. Someone sold me one. But the thing is, it wasn't a bad Eevee at all. It was 87% female Eevee, and I feel really, really bad for taking it. Well, anyway, you gotta do what you gotta do, and it is time to breed. So what I did next was I put my ranch block down, I put my 2 EVs back into the PC, and then I placed both of them into the ranch block. So the fastest way to get 2 Pokemon to breed is to put blocks in the ranch block area. As you can see, it is a 9x9, and those blocks need to match the Pokemon's typing. This way, those Pokemon are comfortable in their environment and will breed. So as you can see, when I right-click on the Eevee, it says Eevee is more attracted to 87 IVS every day. That's the name of this Eevee. That is because normal type Pokemon like the environment of grass blocks. But the environment that they like most, weirdly enough, is cakes. And so the next thing I did was I went back to the mart and I wanted to see how expensive cakes were. And to my surprise, cakes are $1,000 each. I would assume that is because it is really, really good for breeding Eevees. That is definitely not something I will ever invest in. It turns out normal Pokemon actually really like wool as well, even more than they like grass blocks. Grass blocks only have a value of 1, while wool has a value of 2. Cake has a value of 3. So wool is kind of the most in-between block. So what I'm gonna try to do is get enough money to buy a bunch of wool and replace all of the grass with wool. And what better way to make money than to do a Poke Hunt? Oh, and there's actually a Fearow here. Those are pretty easy to find. So I finally caught the Fearow, but unfortunately it was not the right nature, so I had to find another one with the correct nature. Not too long after, I found another one, and this one was the correct nature. And so I got my money and a bunch of rare candies. So I went back to the mart and purchased 81 white wool. And boom, with a little bit of perfect math, our last block fills up the ranch area. And so now if we right click on Eevee, it says Eevee falls madly in love with the other Eevee. So this is going to speed up the breeding process, and then eventually there's going to be an egg in the ranch block that I can withdraw. But while they breed, I am going to go out and try to complete a little bit more of the Pokedex. As I was power leveling my other Pokemon by using Swampert with an XP all on, he actually got to level 100. He's my first Pokemon to get to that level. So it's been a very, very long time since I've seen you guys last, and that is because I have almost completed the entire Pokedex now. There is just a Vulpix that I have not caught, but look at this, guys. I've actually caught almost every single other Pokemon except for Ditto, the other Eevees, which I kind of forgot about, to be honest. I'm sure my Eevees have an egg ready to be picked up, but also all of the fossil Pokemon I still need to get, along with Moltres, Mew, and Mewtwo. So what I'm going to do now is go into an ocean and find as many fossils as I possibly can. Finding fossils isn't really hard at all. All you need to do is swim on a Pokemon and go into a deep ocean biome. At the bottom of the ocean, a lot of times you'll find these little black blotches. These are what fossils actually are. All you have to do is mine them up and boom, you get yourself a fossil. I found a Pokemon down here that I've never seen or heard of before. It's called a Graploct, and so I captured it. So after I went fossil mining for a really long time, I ended up getting quite a bit of fossils. Then I went straight to the fossil room, which is right below spawn. In this area, the server provides all the things you need in order to uncover all of your Pokemon. And so that's exactly what I did. First fossil I got was a Helix fossil, and then I got a Jaw fossil, an Old Amber, a Cover fossil, and a Plume fossil. I wanted to make sure that I uncovered as many as I could, so I did another round. And it actually tells you exactly what Pokemon each fossil is. Here is an Old Amber, which is an Aerodactyl. That's one of the Pokemon I'm looking for. Here's a Helix fossil, which is an Ammonite, another Pokemon I'm looking for. And so then I placed both of the fossils into the fossil machines. And yes, I actually got a Dome fossil as well. So then I put all 3 of the fossils into the fossil machines and waited very, very patiently for them to become Pokemon. While my Pokemon were in the fossil machine, I decided it would be a great time to go take a dump. And when I came back, all 3 of my Pokemon were ready to be retrieved. So I put Pokeballs in all 3 of the slots and quickly withdrew all of them. Fossil mission, success. And then I evolved Kabuto into Kabutops and Ammonite into Amistar. After that, I put all my fossils back in my chest, saw that there was a Chikorita in my house, decided to leave it though. But also I noticed that there was actually an egg in the fossil machine. So I right-clicked it, claimed the egg, and took it for my own. Then I was gonna go hunting for a Vulpix when I saw that there was actually a chest full of items in it. A ton of Pokeballs, which I could actually use, some full restores, rare candy, and some other stuff. The package was from O Blanket. Thanks, man. Eventually, I found one. I caught it and quickly evolved it into a Ninetales. So now the last couple Pokemon I need are Ditto, the Eevees, Porygon, Moltres, and the Mews. Not too much left. My next mission was to find a Ditto, which spawns in the savannah, but it's extremely rare. I was searching for the Ditto for so long that my Eevee actually hatched. It was at this point that I actually realized that there was only 3 Eeveelutions in Generation 1. For some reason, I thought that there was a lot more. And we actually currently have 3 Eevees. So then I went home, took my Eevees out, went to the mart, bought a Firestone, a Water Stone, and I was about to buy a Leaf Stone, but then I remembered I actually have one at home from the boss tower. And then I realized I already had a Firestone as well. And a Water Stone. Nice. So then I got my Eevees out, and I evolved them into a Flareon, a Vaporeon. Then when I tried to evolve my Eevee with the Leaf Stone, it wasn't working. And then I remembered to evolve it, you actually have to find a mossy rock in a forest and level up your Eevee near it. And then I realized that I'm an idiot and that Leafeon isn't even Generation 1. It's Jolteon. So I bought a Thunderstone and I gave it to Eevee. And so now we have all the Eevees. The last Pokemon we need are Ditto, Porygon, Moltres, Mew, and Mewtwo. I saw that there was another orb on the market and I decided to buy it. Then I bought another Firestone and combined it with the orb. So now we have another Orb of Fiery Souls. After about getting halfway through the Fiery Souls orb, I decided to hunt for a Ditto because I got pretty bored. And luckily, I actually found one pretty quickly. Not too long after, I captured it. I finished filling up the orb, leveled up Raichu a little bit, and got some Pokeballs. Now, I'm ready to battle Moltres. My plan this time around was to get him paralyzed immediately by using Raichu. That worked like a charm. Unfortunately, Raichu died straight away after, but it's okay. He did his job. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get him into the red without killing him, and so I ended up having to throw my Pokeballs at him while he was still in the yellow. But at least he's paralyzed this time. And finally, after a very long time, we caught the stupid flaming chicken. It was easily the most annoying Pokemon to capture. Now we have 3 Pokemon left. A Porygon, a Mew, and a Mewtwo. Oh, and someone give me a Master Ball. I'm not sure why, but thank you. And a Pixie Plate, and another Orb of Fiery Souls. I will never battle that thing again. Unfortunately, we don't have too much time left in these 100 days, and so what I decided to do was get my entire team over level 75. The reason I wanted to get all my Pokemon over level 75 is because the only way you're allowed to enter the war zone is if your entire party is, well, over level 75. And so the next place that I went to is the War Zone. The War Zone is a very, very scary place. In this area, tons of unique Pokemon spawn, legendary rates are buffed, and even shadow Pokemon will spawn. You just have to be careful when you battle other players, because if you lose the battle, that other player will be able to steal one of your Pokemon. So it's a very risky place to be. And not too long after, I actually found myself a Shadow Claydol. I caught it pretty quickly, and then I found a Shadow Skiploom, but I wasn't too interested in catching that, to be honest. And then I found a Shadow Shiftry. After I captured him, I noticed that there was actually a Shadow Bidoof right next to me, and a Shadow Meganium with a Garchomp behind it, and a Shadow Mawile. I caught the Bidoof, and then I went straight to the Meganium. One thing that I was struggling with was actually damaging any of the Pokemon, because since there's a level requirement of level 75 to get into the War Zone, all of my levels were a lot higher than the Pokemon I was trying to catch, but we still managed to catch the Meganium. And then we found one of my favorite Pokemon, a Shadow Luxray, and we captured him. I saw a player coming, and he decided to battle me. This is what I was really scared about. I got too greedy, and I really wanted to leave earlier, but unfortunately, I'm now forced to battle this player. And he forfeited the battle. I'm fairly sure he would have destroyed all of my Pokemon, and now I get to steal one of his. And so I want to steal his Darmanitan, and it's a perfect Darmanitan, by the way. So I'm going to go ahead and steal it, but I'm pretty sure he was being nice because he didn't want to kill me. So I'm going to save place. The only way to get out of the war zone is to do /save place and then not move for 5 seconds. But I feel really bad that I just stole his Pokemon, especially because he forfeited and was obviously going to beat me. And so I sold it back to him for free. But that is definitely the last I will ever go into the war zone. We did get quite a few shadow Pokemon, including Luxray, Bidoof, Shiftry, and Claydol, and Meganium. But anyway, guys, that is the end of the 100 days. I did manage to smash some of my goals, and I still failed other ones. For example, we did get Swampbutt to level 100. We did go to the War Zone and capture some Shadow Pokemon, but what we failed to do was complete the Generation 1 Pokedex. We still have Mew, Mewtwo, and Porygon to do. So if you guys do want to see a 300 days of Pixelmon, let me know, and in those 300 days, I will definitely be able to capture Mew, get Mewtwo, and also get Porygon to complete the Generation 1 Pokedex. But other than not being able to capture those 3 Pokemon, I'm really, really happy with the way that this 100 days went. Also, thank you guys so much for the support on episode 1. It really, really means a lot to me, and that's why I decided to make another 100 episodes so quickly. So if this episode also gets a ton of support, then I will definitely make another 100 days playing Pixelmon. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you, dudes! If playing Minecraft wasn't part of your childhood, then you really missed out. It is one of the greatest adventure-based games ever created. And if you combine that with one of the greatest story-based games ever in Pokemon, then you potentially have created the greatest game of all time. The thing is, that game has been created, and it's called Pixelmon. I have been playing Pixelmon for years now, and some even call me a master. Today, my journey continues. I'm going to be playing another 100 days in Pixelmon. Now, I've already done this 2 times before, and I've set myself a lot of goals that I've already accomplished, but there's one in particular that I will try to finish in these next 100 days. That goal is to complete the full Generation 1 Pokédex. The reason it's been so hard is there are so many legendaries and really rare Pokemon that I had to capture. I only have a couple Pokemon left, and those are Porygon, Mew, and Mewtwo. So if I don't accomplish it in these next 100 days, then I'm a horrible Pokemon trainer. If you guys didn't know, I'm actually playing this adventure on the PokeSmash server. The server offers a ton of custom features, such as 8 gyms, a safari, battle towers, tournaments, a war zone, where you can steal other people's Pokemon, a Poke Hunt, Pokemon Hunger Games, amazing custom Pokemon textures, and there's so much more that it offers. And another side goal that I would like to accomplish in these next 100 days is to beat another gym. I did that in the first 100 days, and now I'd like to do it again in the next 100 days. My last side objective is to go to the Ultra Space Dimension. This is a dimension where Ultra Beasts and other legendary Pokemon spawn. It's kind of spooky, but it should be a lot of fun. If you guys do enjoy this video, be sure to go ahead and subscribe. Only 16.5% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. Anyway guys, enjoy the next 100 days. The very first thing that I did in my next 100 days was take off my Team Rocket chestplate. It was given to me early on in the series, and I think it's time to rid myself of this disgusting armor. The very next thing that I did was check out the town, because I told you guys to come build around my town, and, well, I found that there was a lot of stuff. It maybe wasn't the greatest stuff, but there was a lot. Also, my Pokeball got destroyed. It seems that I forgot to claim this area, and, well, people thought it'd be funny to destroy my Pokeball. I guess that's my fault, though. I do have the /fly command, but I just thought it was a lot cooler to fly on Moltres, so I decided to fly on him to give me a nice tour of the new town. And I was actually really surprised and really happy with all of the builds that you guys built in the town. Honestly, I did not realize how much of an impact me saying that if you went to /warp Siren would have. And I was just really overwhelmed with all of these builds. And even some of them were amazing, like this build right here. But again, if you guys do want to build near my house, feel free to do so by going onto the Charizard server and going to /warp Siren. That is how you will get to this town. There's so many houses that are not done being constructed yet, and once they are, I feel like the town is just going to look so much better. There's even floating islands that still need to be completed. And once everything is, I think that this town is going to be the best on the server. But anyway, after the last couple of 100 days, all that I really did in those was catch a ton of Pokemon, and I really wanted to take a break from strictly catching Pokemon. But before I went out on my journey, I actually found a little shrine that somebody put in the backyard of my house that says, "Hope this can help you on your adventure to Siren from No Dad Derek." And after I opened it, I was really happy with what was inside. Now, normally I don't take handouts, but I was really low on Pokeballs and some other items. And getting the Toxic Plate and Sky Plate was certainly very useful. And lastly, he gave me something that was absolutely insane. He gave me 2 non-legendary IV boosts. That was honestly way too generous of him, and if I see him around, I'll definitely have to repay him somehow. As I put the plates back into my chest, I realized that I actually had 5 plates already. I believe you need to get to around 16 before you can summon Arceus, but it's definitely a good start. Anyway, I put everything else back in my chest and started my adventure. So if you guys remember, I actually caught every single Generation 1 Pokedex, which has been my goal for the first 2 episodes, except for Porygon, Mew, and Mewtwo. Now, I'm definitely not looking forward to catching Mew because the chance of him spawning is like 1 in a billion, so I'm gonna be saving that for later, and my first task will be to catch myself a Porygon. Every time you craft a PC, there's a chance that a part of the Porygon will be put into your inventory. You have to collect all the parts of Porygon and then put it into a crafting table in order to spawn one. The way that you actually craft a PC is with 6 aluminum plates, a redstone block, 1 piece of redstone dust, and 1 glass pane. Luckily, I did remember that at spawn, if you do jump down, there are Pokemon that drop redstone and glowstone, which meant I didn't really have to go to the nether to collect these items. And it turns out there's actually a Pokemon here that drops bauxite ore as well, which is how you get aluminum. So instead of mining, I actually stuck around and decided to kill a bunch of Pokemon. This way, my Pokemon would get a lot of levels in the process. And now that I had a level 100 Swampert, it was really easy to take out anything that spawned here. After battling Luxrays and Golems for about an hour, I realized that it was definitely the best way to collect redstone, glowstone, and bauxite all at the exact same time. Also, there were other people battling Pokemon in this area as well that allowed me to just run around and scoop up all the loot. Because of this, in only just under an hour, I was able to get stacks and stacks of bauxite and redstone and glowstone. So the next thing I did was go back home and smelt up all the bauxite. But then I realized that I barely had any coal whatsoever, so unfortunately, in the end, I did have to go mining. Also, the more time that I spent in my house, the more I realized that I hated it and that I really needed to renovate the entire thing. So I teleported randomly in the world and decided to just start digging straight down. And right away, I actually found coal, which was very lucky, especially because this was literally the only block that I was trying to find. Unfortunately, though, I still didn't have any fortune on my pickaxe, so I was only yielding 1 coal per block. But even with that small vein, that was enough to get a lot of my bauxite cooking. As I was mining, I actually found some amethyst, but I wasn't entirely sure what I could do with it. I think that you can make armor with it, but at the time, I wasn't sure. I found some redstone as well, which I didn't really need anymore, but was really good for getting levels. And I actually was level 33 after mining it. This was pretty important because later on in these 100 days, I wanted to enchant some armor and tools in general. This way, I could speed up the process of mining and other things around. I heard a lot of Pokemon around me as I was mining, and I found the cave that they were all in. It's a lot easier to find caves when playing Pokemon because all the Pokemon in the caves just yell. So I ended up finding a lot of really cool Pokemon. I found a Diglett, a Drillbur, a Roggenrola, and a couple of others. But more importantly, I found even more coal, which is really all I was here for. Eventually, I found a lava pool, and on top of lava pools, it's pretty common to find fire shards. What you can do with fire shards is combine them in a crafting table to make an entire fire stone. And then I watched a bronzer burn to death in a lava pool. And then I saw a ghastly that was on fire as well, and it was one of the most scary things I'd ever seen in my entire life. As I was mining, I remembered that a diamond pick is not even the best pick that you can get in the game. With some of the stones, like fire stones and water stones, you can actually craft armor and tools. And one of the tools you can craft is a thunderstone pickaxe. It's definitely something that I want to get by the end of these 100 days because they are the fastest pickaxes that you can possibly get. Also, you can even craft thunderstone armor. With this armor, you get an insane permanent speed boost. And after I was mining for a while, I thought that I found diamonds, but turns out they weren't. These are actually called crystals. Crystals are similar to sapphires and ruby and amethyst, where I believe you can craft armor with them. Unfortunately, there's not a really big reason to craft armor in Pixelmon, as it's really hard to die since there are no mobs. But the armor does look pretty cool in general. Anyway, I decided to go back home because I had an entirely full inventory of coal, iron, gold, you name it, I had it. Except for diamonds. And I didn't realize this at the time, but that whole time I was mining, turns out none of my bauxite ores smelted. which was really disappointing because I thought that they would. It's okay though, because I had 8 furnaces going, which would make this process a lot faster. And as I waited, I decided to tear down my entire house and start from scratch. I know that a lot of you guys actually liked my house and told me that it was pretty good, but honestly, I never liked it, and I was kind of embarrassed that it was my house at all. I've seen other people's 100-day videos, and not a single other person has made a house this bad, so I felt like there were some expectations that I had to meet, and so, yeah, I decided to just completely restart. After I finally destroyed my entire house, all the bauxite was turned into aluminum ingots. As I was taking out the aluminum ingots, I was putting in a bunch of cobblestone because I wanted to build my new house out of either cobblestone or stone brick. But if you guys remember, I did say that we need aluminum plates, not aluminum ingots. And to get aluminum plates, you actually need to craft a Pixelmon Anvil. And the Pixelmon Anvil is a lot less demanding than an actual Minecraft anvil. It only requires 8 iron ingots. And basically the way that you get aluminum plates is you place down the anvil, and then you put an aluminum ingot on top of the anvil. After you do that, you need to craft yourself a Pixelmon hammer. To craft the hammer is pretty simple. All you need is sticks and stone or iron or diamond, whatever you really want. I didn't have any diamonds, so I decided to get an iron hammer. And so what you do with the hammer is you just run up to the anvil and you just start smacking it until the ingot turns into a plate. This process, unfortunately, takes a very long time. So guys, I'm not gonna lie, I ended up taping my mouse down so that I would just keep banging this thing. I did go through quite a few of iron hammers, but the tape was very helpful. You can call that cheating if you'd like. But after a very long time of doing this process, and about 5 iron hammers later, we actually ended up doing pretty well. We now had 3 stacks of aluminum plates and a little bit left over, along with some more aluminum ingots, but I really just did not feel like hammering away anymore. So I decided to get all my glowstone, all my redstone, all my glass, and start crafting a bunch of PCs. So the first thing to do was to craft a bunch of glowstone blocks, and I realized that it only made 20, which made me quite sad, but it is what it is. So then I made all of the glowstone blocks into redstone lamps, and then proceeded to craft myself a ton of PCs. The crafting recipe was pretty simple. I just did not realize how much glowstone I would actually need, and turns out I'm going to need a lot more if I want to make up for all of the extra aluminum plates. But anyway, this was only enough for 20 PCs. And what I didn't realize was right after I spawned in the PCs, the Porygon bodies went straight into my inventory. This was something that I'd never done before. I've actually never gotten a Porygon, so I was a little bit confused. So I decided to right-click this thing on the ground, and nothing happened. So I did a little bit more experimenting and made a couple more PCs. I wasn't able to make many more, but it was enough to get myself a Porygon head, and now things started to click with me. In my first 16 PCs, I managed to get 2 Porygon bodies, and the last 4 that I crafted, I got a Porygon head. I tried putting both of them in the crafting bench, but unfortunately, it didn't do anything. I wasn't entirely sure what to do with them. So after I talked to chat a little bit, it turns out that I was still missing the tail and the leg. So after all of that work, I was only halfway through getting a Porygon. And the main thing that was holding me back at this point was the lack of glowstone. And so I guess the best way to get glowstone would be to actually go to the Nether. And so I asked chat if anyone had another portal I can use, and a lot of people said yes. Thanks to C Dinger, I was able to go to the Nether very easily. And not too much longer, I actually managed to get 2.5 stacks of glowstone. Now, I don't know who told you guys that killing Pokemon under spawn was the fastest way to do it, but they are a liar. But that still probably is the fastest way to get bauxite and redstone. Anyway, the next thing I did was pretty obvious. I made a bunch more glowstone. Then I turned a bunch of that glowstone into redstone lamps, and then I realized I needed more redstone. After sitting here for a little bit, I realized that the best way to get redstone probably was actually to mine. So then I RTP'd and went mining again. Then I found redstone, but not just a little bit of redstone, a ton of redstone. There were like 5 different pockets in a really close cluster. I got really lucky. And this was basically all that I needed in order to continue crafting more PCs. This time around, I was only able to make 16, and I wanted to take them one at a time, just for more anticipation purposes, because last time I just yeeted all of them together and it seemed to work pretty well, but I wanted to see if I would get lucky doing them one at a time. I was about halfway through grabbing all the PCs and did not get lucky a single time and didn't get a single part, so when there were 6 left, I decided to yeet all of them in my inventory, and I got a leg and a body. So now I have 1 Porygon head, 3 Porygon bodies, and 1 Porygon leg. The very last thing that I needed was a Porygon tail. Now I still did have 51 aluminum left, so I got smacking. After smacking away for a while, I did manage to get all the aluminum ingots into aluminum plates, and so I finished the rest of my PCs. I can only make 8 more, and I decided to eat all of them at once, because that is what was working for me. So, with a little bit of luck, I didn't get lucky at all, and I only got 1 more Porygon leg. You see, the reason I didn't try to get a Porygon in the first 200 days was for this reason exactly. I knew it was going to be a long, tedious, and long process. And so, I went back to spawn to kill a lot more iron golems, to get more aluminum, to make more aluminum plates, to make more PCs. I couldn't be bothered to sit there as long as I did last time, so I only got 56 aluminum plates this time, and when I went to go craft my PCs, I realized that there was a Mudsdale that was twerking in my face, and then it got embarrassed and ran away. What I didn't realize at the time was I actually got a Porygon tail a long time ago, and it's actually in my inventory, as you can see right there. Looking back at this footage now, I am so triggered because I ended up making so many more PCs for no reason at all. I actually already had everything I needed to make a Porygon, but I spent a lot more time making a lot more PCs. And after I crafted and crafted and crafted, I was so happy, I was ecstatic. I actually finally got myself a Porygon tail, which means that I was able to craft a Porygon. This is like the only Pokemon that I know of that you can actually craft. I was so excited for this moment. It took days and days and days and days of grinding to finally get this Porygon. So I went ahead and put all of the parts into the crafting table and got myself a Porygon. And boom, there it was. It spawned a wild Porygon. Now it was time to catch it. I took out some Pokemon from my PC, and as I realized that someone sent me a freaking Groudon, which was absolutely outrageous. People also sent me a Greninja called Cyrod's Frog, and a Drapion called 2Cyrid. But anyway, I got some of the lower level Pokemon out. This way I could actually battle this thing without killing it. And I started the battle off with a Raichu. And so I went to go catch it and realized I didn't have any Pokeballs. So I ran away and grabbed some. I got into battle with him again and used Thunder Wave immediately as well. Then again, I switched into Blastoise and hit him with a Water Pulse. I really wanted to make sure that I didn't kill this thing because of how long it took me to get him. So even though he wasn't too weak, I decided to start throwing Ultra Balls at him. And on my very first Ultra Ball, I actually caught the Porygon. I was so happy because I feel like this was almost like catching a legendary Pokemon. It probably actually took me longer to catch a Porygon than it did to catch any of the legendary birds. So now when I go into my Pokedex and scroll all the way down, boom, you'll see that Porygon has been captured. And boom, I put the Porygon into my party and checked out its moves. It actually has a pretty good move in Psybeam, but other than that, it's not too great. When I went to check the IVs on the Porygon, I was insanely surprised. It actually had 83% IVs, which is pretty much unheard of. Not only that, but most of its IVs were in categories that it really needed, like special attack, HP, and speed. I've never really used a Porygon before though, and I wasn't sure if they're good, so if you guys could let me know in the comments to this video if Porygons are good and I should use it, let me know, and maybe I will. But anyway guys, it was time for the moment you've all been waiting for. It was time to catch a Mew. Now in the previous 100 days, I actually did find a jungle and I made it a home. So when I type in /home jungle, it actually takes me straight to a jungle, which is exactly where Mew spawns. I p-wikied Mew again to see what time of the day it spawns, and it only spawns during the day. So there was really no point for me to be here during the night. However, I haven't been in a jungle yet this entire series, so I figured I would have a look around. There were Joltics, there were Mankeys, there were Venipedes. There was a whole bunch of unique Pokemon that spawn here. here. But I was only after one. One thing that I was worried about though was even if a Mew does spawn, I wasn't even sure if I'd be able to find it because Mews are really tiny Pokemon and this jungle is full of trees and vines and bushes and a lot of things that make it really challenging to find specific Pokemon. After days and days and days of literally just sitting in the jungle, I realized that a vote party was about to happen. And when vote parties happen, there's a legendary that spawns at spawn. So I went to spawn to go look for a legendary, but I had no clue where to look, to be honest. And normally these legendary Pokemon get snatched up really quickly. After a little while of searching, I realized that still nobody actually found any legendary Pokemon. And to my surprise, I found a Mew. This was absolutely insane and probably the luckiest thing that's ever happened to me ever playing Pokemon. After I found the Mew, the first thing I did was try to get my Raichu out. I had to go really quick though, this way no one else in the server would find it before me. I was panicking. I managed to find my Moltres as well, which I replaced for Dugong. And then it was time. I engaged the Mew in the battle. The first thing I did was Thunder Wave the Mew. That was most important, that the Mew would be paralyzed. I really didn't want to kill it, so what I decided to do was just throw an Ultra Ball. I know it was really unlikely that a level 59 Raichu would kill it in one hit, but one of my only moves was Thunder, and if I got a crit, I was worried that might have killed it. And then I realized I didn't really have any other Pokemon that would do too well against it. And then somehow, some way, on my very next Ultra Ball attempt, I caught the Mew, even though it almost had full HP. That was so lucky. Everyone in chat was spamming F because the IVs on it were not good. They were only 62%, but it did have perfect special attack and perfect HP, so I'm not complaining. But this was so amazing. This was so important for the future of these 100 days. But honestly, this was probably the best thing that could have happened. And now my Pokedex was complete, except for one single slot. The Mewtwo. Before I decided to try to take on the Mewtwo, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to take my mind off things because I felt like I was rushing. And so what I decided to do was gather a team that would be good against the ground gym, which is the second gym. Finally, after waiting a little while, my challenge was accepted. And so I brought my team of Swampert, Dragonite, Porygon, Articuno, Dugong, and Cloyster. Obviously, I did bring a lot of ice-type Pokemon for this one, since ice is super effective against, I think, all of them except for Swampert. So he isn't hit Paladon. I'm gonna go for an Icy Wind. It's really not the best move, but it is super effective, so it should do a decent amount. Unfortunately, my Icy Wind does not do as much as I was hoping it would, but luckily my Dugong did end up killing his Hippowdon. However, my Dugong was very weak and poisoned, so this was not good at all. He then went to a Gliscor, which is ice is ×4 effective against it. So obviously I went straight into another ice Pokemon. I decided to go with Articuno because I knew Gliscor was better at physical defense than special attack, and I knew Articuno had Ice Beam. So I went for an Ice Beam, and I one-shot it. Honestly, I'm not sure why he didn't switch out, but I will take it. I'm not complaining whatsoever. And then he switched into Seismitoad, and to be honest, I didn't really know what to do at this point. So I just went to Porygon because I didn't know what else to do. I wanted to save my Articuno for later on in the battle because I think that he's going to be important and he's not really going to be able to do much against the Seismitoad. So I switched into Porygon and decided to just use Psybeam, but unfortunately, it really didn't do much against his very strong Seismitoad. I didn't really know how good Porygon was going to be, and he ended up dying pretty easily without doing too much damage to Seismitoad, but that's okay. I didn't really expect much. And so the next thing I did was I went to Swampert and decided to do an Earthquake. I wasn't really sure how much it was going to do, but it ended up actually doing a decent amount. And I know that Seismitoad is a very tanky Pokemon, so I knew it wasn't going to do like a crazy amount. But very unluckily for me, I got frozen, which is probably like the most unlucky thing possible. It's probably the worst status effect that you can get, but I did thaw out of the freeze in 2 turns, so it wasn't really the worst thing ever. He then switched into Excadrill, who I thought was going to go before me, and did because he used Rapid Spin, but it didn't kill me. And then I just used Earthquake and killed it in 1 shot. So that was pretty lucky of me. And then I just kept riding out Swampert to see what else he could do. But unfortunately, Nidoking did kill me. It went first, which I didn't realize that Nidoking was actually fast, but apparently he is. Then I was torn between going to Articuno or Cloyster. I thought Nidoking might have a rock type move, so I decided to go to Cloyster because rock is super effective against the Articuno. So I went for an Icicle Crash, and it did a ton of damage, a lot more than I was really expecting. And it went really well. So my Cloyster took out his Nidoking, and at this point in the battle, I was kind of lost. I didn't know how many more Pokemon he had left, but then he sent out his Swamp Butt, and then it was down to what I thought was a 2v1. So I went to Dragonite, and I used Outrage, which is his best move, and it did a ton of damage. And then he used Outrage again because it takes 2 to 3 turns, and boom, his Swampert was dead, and that was the end of the battle. From beating the gym, I got myself $10,000 and 5 rare candies along with the Quake badge. After beating the gym, the next thing that I wanted to do was start construction of my new base. I started by grabbing all of the stone out of my furnace and turning almost all of it into stone brick. Then I made a bunch into slabs because that was a really good way to conserve a lot of the stone bricks, and you could also combine slabs in order to make chiseled stone bricks. A lot of people don't really know that, but chiseled stone brick is one of the coolest building blocks in my opinion. The first thing I did was work on the outline of my new house. Now, I've said this before, in my first 100 days, I do not pride myself on building, so if this house comes out horribly, I apologize in advance because I'm not a good builder. I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted, but I started with a nice little checkered pattern as you enter the house. After getting a lot of the flooring done, I realized that I really wanted to build out of spruce instead of oak, so I decided to venture out and try to find some spruce trees. And as I was grabbing a ton of wood for my house, I saw that a wild Stakataka actually spawned in the Extreme Hills biome. And so I ventured out looking for an Extreme Hills, and it turns out I was right next to one, and I started to get my hopes up a little bit. So I started flying on my Dragonite to search for this Stakataka. As I was searching, I found a Ditto, which is actually pretty good, and a Druddigon as well, but unfortunately, I did not find any Stakataka. Turns out the whole time I was mining for what I thought was spruce, I mined for dark oak, but I decided to use this anyway because I never really used dark oak, and I thought it would still look pretty cool. And after hours and hours and hours and hours of working on this house, it was finally time to show you guys. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, voila. Here is my brand new house. Now, I know it's not anything too crazy. It's not the greatest thing ever, but it took me freaking forever. You have to realize I'm really not a great builder, and so for me to do this took a lot longer than it would most other people. As I was building it, I didn't really know what I was going for. I was kind of just building, and whatever happened, happened. And so that's why there's kind of some really weird things here and there, because I didn't really know, I didn't have a game plan at all. Also, there were people watching me basically the entire time, and they're now in my basement. Oh yeah, I made a basement. It's not much of a basement, and it's something that I need to work on at some point. But I've been working on this for hours and hours and hours, and I'm just ready to be done. I'm ready to be done. Now, I know it's not much, but like I said, I really tried my best, and this is what we ended up with. I had a lot of symmetrical issues when I was building this thing. I had to tear down a lot of things and build them back up as I was going, but this is like the best that I could do. Again, I know it's not the greatest house ever, but I certainly think it's a massive upgrade from what we had, so I'm pretty happy with it. But anyway, now that I was finally somewhat satisfied with my new house, it was time to go for Mewtwo. As I was about to start my adventure to go and get a cloning machine, I ran into Dream. Not quite Dream. I guess this is Dream's cousin. Hello, Dream's cousin. But anyway, in order to get a cloning machine, you have to get a ton of obsidian and a ton of diamonds. Someone actually gave me these 14 diamonds, so I decided to put them away and get all my diamonds legit. Before I went out, I asked some friends if they had some lapis so I could enchant. I swear I've mined lapis before, but I just couldn't find it in my chests. So in order to get a cloning machine, you actually have to get 2 fossil machines and convert them into cloning machines. And in order to get fossil machines, you basically just have to have a lot of bauxite, redstone, obsidian, which I pretty much already had. But in order to convert them into cloning machines, that is when you had to have a ton of obsidian, aluminum plates, emeralds, gold, and a couple of other things. But kind of similarly to how beacons work, you actually have to add blocks to the cloning machines in order to get a better chance of spawning Mewtwo. So, for example, you could add iron blocks to the cloning machine, but that only gives you like a 5% chance of Mewtwo spawning. But if you get 3 diamond blocks, that ups the chances up to 37.5%. Now, obviously the Pokemon that we are going to clone is Mew. That is the only Pokemon that you can clone in order to hopefully get Mewtwo. Now, it is really risky trying to do this because if you do get a Mewtwo, the entire cloning machine breaks. So you only have 1 chance at catching the Mewtwo. And if you don't get a Mewtwo, then you get a Ditto, which is still pretty cool. And the cloning machine doesn't break, which is nice, but you can only get Ditto 3 times before you can no longer use that Mew that you were using to clone. So you basically have to get Mewtwo within your first 3 tries, or else you have to catch a whole other Mew to clone, which is why I'm making sure that I get a ton of diamonds so that my chances are the highest they can possibly be. I've gotten really unlucky with finding diamonds, and I finally found my first batch. I got 6 from my first pocket, and I still had a lot more to go. I found a huge cave, and I found even more diamonds in it, but this time I decided to use my Silk Touch pickaxe in case I got fortune later down the line. I saw what I thought were diamonds, but it was just crystals. Again, I thought I saw more diamonds, but again, it was just crystals. I hate crystals. Again, I found what I thought were diamonds, but it was just crystals. I'm just kidding. I knew they were diamonds. I was just trying to trigger some people. Now we had 7 diamond ore and 6 diamonds. Then I found, again, more crystals, which I thought were diamonds, but they weren't. Ah, just kidding again. I know they're diamonds. So again, I used my Silk Touch pick to pick these guys up. I found even more diamonds that were hiding under redstone blocks, or redstone ores. And finally, I found my last batch of diamonds that I needed to make all 3 diamond blocks. Again, I decided to mine them up with my Silk Touch pickaxe in case I got fortune. After messaging with Emilio a little bit, he told me that he had a Fortune 3 book that he was willing to sell for 1K. I TP'd to Slippy so that I could use his anvil to combine my Diamond Efficiency 3 Unbreaking 3 pickaxe with the Fortune 3 book. And there we go. I now have a diamond pickaxe named Glizzy Goblin that is really solid. And so I went back to my home, placed all of the diamond ore that I had just found, and I mined it up with the Glizzy Goblin. Comment down below how many diamonds you think I would get from 24 diamond ore. If you get 62 diamonds, you would be correct. We already had 6 in our inventory, so we really got 62. That is an insane amount of diamonds. So the next thing I did was gather all the materials I needed in order to craft 2 fossil machines and convert them into 2 cloning machines. Crafting a fossil machine actually takes a bunch of different parts. So the first one I crafted was the fossil machine top, and then I crafted the display, then the tank, and lastly, the fossil machine base. Then after you combine all of these together, you get yourself a fossil machine. I did this process twice, and now I had 2 fossil machines. The next thing I crafted was the item that combines the 2 together, which is the cloner cord. And the last thing I had to do was convert both of the fossil machines into cloning machines. Except there were 2 different cloning machines I needed. The first one required gold and was called the orange tank, and made the green tank. The next thing I did was make a bunch of diamond blocks, which is why I mined all the diamonds in the first place. It was time to combine the green tank with the orange tank to create the cloning machine. My heart was racing. After days and days and days and days and days of trying to get myself a Mewtwo, the time was finally here. I decided to put the cloning machine right inside my house. And there were the words, "Insert Mew." My heart was racing. I searched my PC so I could go find Mew. And there he is, level 50. I right-clicked the machine, Mew was inside. Then I put 3 blocks of diamonds inside the orange tank. 1, 2, and 3. And I waited as the machine processed. It would only take a couple seconds before we would know if I got myself a Mewtwo or a Ditto. And I could not believe my eyes. As the Mewtwo was growing and growing and growing inside of the clone machine, it broke the entire machine. The machine was broken, never to be used again. And immediately, I challenged the Mewtwo to a battle. I took no chances whatsoever. I went straight to my bag, went to the Pokeball, and used my one and only Master Ball. The Mewtwo stood no chance. There was nothing it could do. It was mine. And just like that, I captured, potentially, the most powerful Pokemon in the entire world. A Mewtwo. And that was it. That was my biggest objective of this entire series. Completed. The entire Generation 1 Pokedex. As I looked at my Pokedex, I could not be more proud. I have never done this before. Every single Generation 1 Pokemon I had captured. This was a sight to behold. Although it does say I didn't capture Vaporeon, I literally have one in my PC. I think it's because it's from the egg. I hatched an Eevee from an egg and then I evolved it into Vaporeon. And for some reason, it doesn't say that I caught it. But I'm counting it as a catch. But there we go. The infamous Mewtwo. Mewtwo is a Pokemon that was created by genetic manipulation. However, even though the scientific power of humans created this Pokemon's body, they failed to endow Mewtwo with a compassionate heart. That is what you call intimidating. Capturing Mewtwo was easily one of the hardest things that I have ever done in my YouTube career. It was such a long process. Looking back on it, if I hadn't gotten so lucky with the Mew spawning at the vote party, then I'm not sure I ever would have been able to do this. Honestly, I couldn't be more happy. So I decided to take Mewtwo on a tour of the most amazing town in Pokemon history. I think it's safe to say that he wasn't too impressed. I only had 19 rare candies at the time, so I decided to go to Warp Crates and open a ton of Vote Crates. And there we go, I got 3 more, 6 more Ultra Balls, another 3 more rare candies, and a random Pokemon. But there we go, I now have 28 rare candies after voting, and what I decided to do was put all of those on Mewtwo. His moves were pretty trash, and so after I got him level 100, I decided to go to the mart and get him some better TMs. After applying all these moves to Mewtwo, he was now a beast. Now that I had 3 Pokemon I was really happy with and confident in, I decided to go to the Battle Tower. The Battle Tower is an entire tower of trainers that will challenge you in 3v3 battles. So I talked to the dude with the really awesome mustache, but as I was going to challenge it, apparently Mewtwo is literally too good to challenge the Battle Tower. I don't think you're allowed any Uber tier Pokemon. So I tried my luck with Zapdos and it let me. So this was my team. My first matchup was pretty crazy. It was a Salamence against a Dragonite. I tried to risk it for the biscuit and I went for a Dragon Dance. Unfortunately, it didn't work well and the Salamence killed me in one hit. It also had Moxie, which means every single time that it kills any Pokemon, its attack gets raised. So I quickly switched into Swampert and went for an Ice Punch, but I died in one hit. And so did my Zapdos. One thing I realized is none of my Pokemon had any items on them, and I think that was a big problem. I didn't have the best items back at home, so the only thing I could really do is put a Scope Lens on Zapdos, which increases critical chance. I put a Muscle Band on Swampert, which increases physical damage by 10%, and then I put a Dragon Fang on Dragonite, which increases Dragon-type moves by, I believe, 30%. And now I was ready to challenge the Battle Tower again. This time, I started off with Zapdos because Dragonite really didn't work well, and I kind of want to save Swampert for another Pokemon. Unfortunately, the camera angle for this wasn't too great, but I started off with the Drill Peck, which is super effective against Hariyama, and then somehow he killed me in one hit. I was pretty sure the move that he used was an Ice move, which is ×4 effective against Dragonite, but I was really just hoping that Dragonite could kill it in one hit. Unfortunately, he switched into Hippowdon, but actually it worked out pretty well. I continued to use Outrage with Dragonite, and it worked incredibly well. Things were looking good. And boom! Outrage killed his last Pokemon, and we beat the first trainer in the Battle Tower. We were then asked if we wanted to continue in the Battle Tower, and of course I did. So the next trainer's first Pokemon was an Emboar, and of course I was going to Drill Peck the Emboar as it is super effective, and then it killed me in one hit. Again, I'm not sure Zapdos survived a singular turn in any of these battles yet. My next option was to go to Swampert, and I decided to Earthquake. Somehow the Emboar was faster than my Swampert. I didn't realize that would be the case. And then I tried another Earthquake, but somehow Ninetales can learn Solar Beam. So things just weren't really going too great. Again, I thought Ninetales would have to recover from the solar beam, but apparently he didn't, so I tried to get a Dragon Dance off, and it just really didn't go well. But fortunately, I did manage to kill it in the end. My last hope was to one-shot this guy with an Outrage, and I did. So Dragonite has honestly carried me so far through these first 2 trainers, and I was not very optimistic for the next one, but I gave it a shot anyway. And so the first Pokemon that I battled was a Ditto, which obviously transformed into a Zapdos. This was a very awkward battle because the only move that we could use against each other that did any damage was, I thought, Drill Peck, but apparently electric moves affect Zapdos. I did not realize this, so that was pretty awkward. So knowing the moves that the Ditto had, because it was the exact same Pokemon as my Zapdos, I went to Swampert, because electric does not affect Swampert. And I decided to Ice Punch this thing, but of course it goes into a Ferrothorn, because why not? This was a really bad matchup for my team, and I really didn't know what to do. I went for a Hammer Arm, but I didn't expect much. It actually did more than I thought, but I knew that he would have Power Whip and kill me in one hit. Now, once again, it was down to my Dragonite. So I decided to Dragon Dance because I thought it was my only chance at sweeping this guy, but unfortunately, it just was not going my way. I tried an Earthquake, but it just was not enough to take down the Ferrothorn, and unfortunately, he got the best of me. But that round was a little bit better. We actually made it to the 3rd trainer, which I guess I'm sort of proud of. So the last thing I decided to do in my 100 days was go to the Ultra Space Dimension. The way that you do that is you have to have either a Lunala or a Solgaleo. Obviously, I didn't have either of those, but Slippy did. So he threw out his Lunala, and he made a wormhole for me. And so I hopped on my Zapdos and I flew in. As you can see, there's a lot of fog everywhere. Gravity is very, very low, and the biomes are so weird. This area is really, really cool though. There's a lot of really rare Pokemon that spawn here, along with the Ultra Beasts. I don't think any of the Ultra Beasts are obtainable in the overworld. You actually have to be in the Ultra Space Dimension for them to spawn. I couldn't really see much, but I thought that I saw some land, so I decided to take a leap of faith and jump into the abyss. Luckily, as I fell down very slowly, I did land on land, and this was actually a really, really rare shrine. This is a sacred area, a sacred temple, where you can spawn in Giratina. It is incredibly, incredibly hard to get the items needed in order to spawn this in. It's even harder than spawning in Mewtwo. Obviously, I was nowhere near spawning in a Giratina, so I decided to keep moving and keep hopping to different islands. It was actually pretty fun. In the middle of the Ultra Space Dimension, I literally just found a random end dimension structure. I don't know what these things are called, but I figured I'd give it a little exploration. Then I found this really cool biome. I don't even know what blocks these are. I broke one and then it just broke like glass. I checked to see what biome this was, and it's called the Ultra Deep Sea. I set a home here actually called UDS, which stood for Ultra Deep Sea. I had a feeling that there were some Ultra Beast Pokemon that would spawn here. I was exploring this biome for days and days and days and days and days, waiting for something really cool to spawn, but the coolest thing that spawned was an incredibly fat Clefable, so I decided to catch it. I saw in chat a wild Virizion spawned in a Forest Hills biome, and I was pretty excited, but I didn't think that they spawned in the Ultra Space Dimension, so I kind of just went on my way, not really thinking too much of it, until I found a freaking Virizion. This was absolutely insane. Honestly, I had no idea that they spawned in the Ultra Space Dimension. I've been exploring this dimension for so long, waiting for something amazing like this to happen, and it was finally time. I decided to change who I had in my party so that I could tank some more hits from it. I engaged in battle with my Raichu and went straight away for a Thunder Wave so I could paralyze it. This went perfectly. My next move was a Thunder, which I knew wouldn't do too much damage, and I actually missed anyway. So then I went into Machamp and decided to do a Wake Up Slap. And another one. And another one. And I didn't want to use another Wake Up Slap because I wasn't sure if I was going to kill it or not, so I just went for some Ultra Balls. I had someone supporting me in my battle, and it was none other than Psycho Michael. And just like that, with a little bit of luck and Psycho Michael's help, we managed to catch ourselves a Virizion. It even had really, really good IVs. It had perfect HP, perfect defense, perfect speed, and decent attack. So of course, the next thing I did was go into my team to find it. And guys, I have to say, I was really, really proud of my team. Not only did I have these 6 amazing Pokemon, but I still had an Articuno and a level 100 Dragonite. After a whole 300 days of playing Pixelmon, I think I've come a very, very long way. We've beaten 2 different gyms. We've completed the entire Generation 1 Pokedex. We've been to the War Zone and caught some Shadow Pokemon. We've challenged the Battle Tower and did decent on it in one of the rounds. We've been to the Ultra Space Dimension and even caught a legendary while we were there. And we even built a really cool house. These past 100 days were probably my favorite because we managed to finally finish some of the original goals we had in the first 100 days. So I'm really, really proud with myself and where I am now. If you guys enjoyed this 100 days, be sure to go ahead and leave a like rating. That'll show me that you want to see yet another 100 days video of Pixelmon. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
It has been months. Where have you been all this time?
I've been hiding. For I've seen something. Something terrifying. I prayed to the gods that what I'd seen was fantasy, but it seems that my greatest fears have come true.
Speak to us. Tell us what you saw.
The prophecies. The prophecies are true, Master. And we're too late to stop it. The Pokemon are bigger, scarier, and more vicious than ever.
No, it can't be.
At first, it was fun to catch and train Pokemon. I have so many memories growing up. But now I fear for my life. And I fear for the world. Gigantamaxing is here. Well, here we are. The very, very long-awaited 400 days of Pixelmon. I waited so long to make this video because I wanted the next 100 days to be something special, something unique to the previous 3. Recently, there was an insane new update to Pixelmon that allows you to battle and attain Gigantamax Pokemon. As scary as they are, I will do everything that I can to get them on my side. So, my main 3 objectives for these next 100 days are, firstly, to attain a Gigantamax Charizard. They look absolutely ferocious. I mean, just look at this dude. Secondly, I would love to win a battle in the War Zone. The War Zone is an area on the server that has a very high legendary and shadow spawn rate, but when you battle other players, the winner of the battle gets to steal a Pokemon from the opposing player. So this area is extremely risky, and I'm gonna try to win a battle and steal another player's Pokemon. The third thing that I want to do is to complete a bingo card. I know, this sounds quite silly compared to the other 2 objectives, but hear me out. With these bingo cards, if you complete one of the bigger ones, like a 7x7 or 9x9, you get some really awesome rewards. There's a pretty good chance even that you'll get really, really good crates. Maybe even a legendary crate. Who knows? We'll see what happens. That would be pretty epic. Also, of course, these next 100 days are being played on the Smash MC network. The IP is play.smashmc.co. So if you guys do want to experience my journey with me, be sure to go ahead and join the network. Also, I have a absolutely massive announcement that I've been waiting on for a very long time. I'm so excited to tell you guys that I'm finally releasing my own merch. As of now, we only have one design, which is being put on a t-shirt and a hoodie. But depending on how much you guys enjoy the merch, we will potentially be releasing some new designs. Not only is the merch extraordinarily comfortable, but it also makes you go from looking like this to this. Well, maybe not like that, but you get my point. Also, I will be signing the first 100 pre-orders. So if you guys do want me to sign your shirt, be sure to go ahead and order them ASAP. And I promise, last thing before getting into the 100 days, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. Less than 20% of the people who watch my videos are subscribed. And making videos like this takes an extremely long time, as you can probably imagine. So please consider subscribing. Anyway, guys, of course, enjoy the next 100 days of Pixelmon.
So the first thing that I did starting these next 100 days was reminisce. I missed my house. I hadn't seen my house in so long. It was never anything too special. However, as I walked inside, I remembered the cloning machine that broke when we spawned a Mewtwo. Oh, the memories of that. That was freaking awesome. And as I walked outside, it was nice. And also not so nice to remember all the builds that people left in the city. But I will say, one thing that was nice about being away for so long is that people left a ton of presents for me. It was actually pretty awesome. So the first thing I did was absolutely just go through all of these gifts that I got and take them all. It was awesome. So shout out to Ziff for some presents. Also, shout out to Epic Entity for providing me with a Thunderstone pickaxe. Also, shout out to Little Thief 25 for providing me with even more amazing stuff, including a freaking Elytra. That's gonna be pretty clutch. And also, of course, we can't forget Nessie for providing me with an entire double chest of Pokeballs, rare candies, and armor. And lastly, thank you to Mindslime 11 for another chest of goodies. Honestly, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for all the support. This series has really changed my life, and I mean that. You guys giving me gifts and sending me nice messages really goes a long way. It means a lot more to me than you guys might even imagine. So again, thank you guys so much for all the support on these videos and for those little gifts that you guys leave me. But anyway, enough of this soppy stuff. Let's get into grinding. The first place that I decided to go to was the Boss Tower. This is an area that spawns a bunch of boss Pokemon. The reason I came here was because pretty much I just went to level up my Pokemon. Since I was going to the war zone later on in this video, I really wanted to get my team up to level 100. Battling boss Pokemon was nice because they spawned at an extremely high level. Since I have a level 100 on my team, these bosses spawn from ranges 105 to up to 120. Battling bosses wasn't really going as planned, so I decided to go to the Eevee trainer because upon killing the Eevee trainer, she actually gives you 6 rare candies. And so my next plan was just to get as many rare candies as possible. I did manage to get my Pokemon up to a relatively high level though before going for this rare candy tactic. So the next thing I decided to do was vote for the server a couple of times so that I could get some vote crate keys to hopefully get myself some more rare candies. And on my first spin, I got 10 rare candies. After spinning the vote crate key a couple more times, I managed to get myself another 10 rare candies. And just like that, I got 26 rare candies. So then I went into my vault where I stored all my secret goodies. Here I found I had over a stack of rare candies. I think a lot of these rare candies were actually gifts from you guys, so shout out to everyone that gave me gifts, because that actually allowed me to level up all of my Pokemon to level 100. Now that all of the legendary Pokemon in my team were level 100, it's time to get the boy Charizard all the way up to the beautiful triple-digit number 100. And 40 rare candies later, we finally managed to do it. Our Charizard was now an absolute beast. Little does he know, though, that he still has a lot of evolution to do in this episode. Eventually, he is going to be Dynamaxing and hopefully, fingers crossed, Gigantamaxing. And so now that my team was all level 100, I was ready to go to the war zone. But that is not exactly what I did, because the war zone is very scary, and I was getting too nervous. So instead, what I decided to do was ask one of the managers on the server to go ahead and give me a 9x9 bingo card. Now, I think it is important to note that these bingo cards are not public on the server quite yet, but they are coming very, very soon. So the way the bingo card works is if I right-click it in my hand, you will see that there is a 9x9 bingo card of Pokemon that I have to catch. There are 2 ways that you get rewarded from completing these bingo cards. The first one is by completing a bingo, whether that be a horizontal completion, a vertical completion, or a diagonal completion. By just completing one of those, you get to redeem a reward. And then you also get rewarded for completing the entire card, which is gonna be pretty hard because there's 81 freaking Pokemon on the card, which is a lot. That is a lot of Pokemon. And so I studied the card to find out which row or column would be easiest to complete. And I decided that the row I was gonna target was the 3rd one. It consisted of Boulder, Tangrowth, Weezing, Magnemite, Larvesta, Machoke, Watchdog, Squirtle, and Frigadier. Those Pokemon better watch out, because I'm coming for them. And the first Pokemon that I actually found was a Watchog, and so he was the first that I captured. As I check my bingo card, you can actually see here that Watchog has been captured. The Pokeball animation pops up for him. Now for the rest of this row. And as I was about to leave, I actually found a legendary Tepig. This is actually insanely rare to find, a legendary boss. And so obviously I did what anyone else would do and absolutely destroyed this legendary boss in pretty much one hit with Swamp Butt. The next Pokemon that I caught was a Boldore. 2 down, 7 to go. And then completely out of the blue, I noticed that this Nidoran had fire particles on it. And I knew exactly what that meant. Nidoran was part of the Pokehunt. So on this server, if you do /hunt, there will always be 4 Pokemon that are being hunted by the entire server. And it just so happens that Nidoran is one of them. If you're the first player on the server to catch one of these 4 Pokemon, you get some pretty awesome rewards. You get money, rare candies, and even Pokeballs. So of course, the next thing I did was just capture the Nidoran. And I got 13 rare candies and 15 netballs from it. Over the next couple of days, I managed to get my hands on a Larvesta, a Scovet, a Machoke, and a Magnemite. At this point in the bingo card, everything was going pretty well. I was catching about 1 Pokemon a day. And then I realized that I caught all of the easiest Pokemon first, and that the 3 Pokemon left have like a 0.1% chance of spawning. And so it took a lot of waiting and waiting and waiting to catch these Pokemon, but we persevered. And we eventually did it. And as I was looking for a Tangrowth, I saw some more of these fire particles. Honestly, I was getting so lucky with finding these Pokehunt Pokemon. Turns out there was a Grubbin hiding in the jungle, waiting to be captured. And so I caught him and got my reward. After a couple more days of sitting in the jungle, I finally found myself a Tangrowth, which was on the bingo card. I was so excited. And just like that, we captured a Tangrowth. Our bingo card was down to 2, a Weezing and a Frogadier. Apparently, the best way to find a Frogadier or a Greninja is to actually fish for them in a swamp biome. And that was actually perfect because that's where Weezing spawns as well. So if I spend enough time in a swamp biome fishing and just looking around for a Weezing, eventually everything should come together. As I was fishing for a Frogadier and looking around for a Weezing, I found this thing. I didn't know what it was, so I ran up to it. It's called a Toxtricity. I've never heard of this thing before, and it looks absolutely insane. And so I did what any normal Pokemon trainer would do and caught it. And after fishing for an extremely long time, I finally got pretty lucky. No, not with actually fishing, but eventually I decided to turn to my left, and I found that there was a Weezing that actually spawned right next to me. Finally. And it used self-destruct and killed itself. So that was awesome. That was fun. And just to put icing on the cake, Voltorb celebrated by evolving into an Electrode. Thanks, buddy. And after so long of fishing, I finally got my hands on a Frogadier. I was honestly pretty nervous because of how long it took me to get this guy. I really didn't want to fumble the bag. And with a little bit of luck, I managed to capture the Frogadier. Looking at my bingo card, I now had 8 out of 9 in the row. The last one being a Weezing. I tried to forget my last encounter with a Weezing and keep my head high. And so I continued to run through the swamplands, which feels like I've been here forever. And you know what they say, hard work and perseverance pays off, because I finally found another Weezing. And after I got the Weezing paralyzed and pretty weak, I started throwing Ultra Balls, praying that it wouldn't self-destruct again. And just like that, we managed to do it. We captured the Weezing, completing a bingo on our bingo card. And so I redeemed my reward. Not only did we end up getting a ton of rare candies and Pokeballs, but most importantly, we got our hands on a legendary crate key. This was so exciting. In these legendary crate keys, you can get some epic rewards, including pretty much any legendary that you want. I was so excited. And so obviously, right after I got that reward, I decided to open up a legendary crate key. I was so nervous. As the animation took, I saw that there were some mythical items in here that I could potentially get. The crate spun and spun and spun until finally, I got myself a legendary drop. A shiny legendary of choice. Oh, boys! I was so excited!
I can literally choose any legendary in the entire game to redeem. After thinking about what shiny legendary Pokemon I wanted for a long time, eventually, I made my decision. I decided to go with the brand new OP legendary Pokemon, Eternatus. Since this Pokemon was brand new, I'm fairly sure that I was one of the first ever on the entire server to get my hands on one of them. Not only did I have an Eternatus, but he was also freaking shiny. This guy was absolutely epic. Riding on him was really cool as well. I'm pretty sure that you're supposed to be on his back for the animation, but honestly, it's kind of cool that you're underneath him, because when you look on top, it almost looks like you are an Eternatus, which is pretty cool. As much as I would love to use this Pokemon in the Warzone, unfortunately, he's just far too valuable. I would never risk bringing a shiny Eternatus into the Warzone. So though, I did what any normal person would do, and I leveled this guy all the way up to 100. And now we have an almighty level 100 Eternatus on the team. Hey, big shout out to this bingo card. Without this bingo card, I would not have a shiny Eternatus. Unfortunately though, I don't think I'm going to be completing the rest of this bingo card. Just this single row took so much time that I don't think there's any way on this world that I could complete this entire bingo card within this 100 days, let alone complete the other challenges that I had in mind. And ladies and gentlemen, after a couple of days of preparing, it was finally time to do what I had feared most. Go to the Warzone. My fingers were shaking as I typed in the command /warp Warzone. It took me right where I knew it would, to the dropship. And I knew that the second I stood on this pressure plate, everything would change. And just like that, my blood started rushing. This is where champions were born and made. And it was my time to shine. As you probably noticed as well, my entire body is highlighted, and that shows for everyone, which means that there is absolutely no hiding in the Warzone. And finally, it was time to make our first encounter. And here we go. The battle commenced. Myself against Carbify. This was absolutely intense. I didn't really know what to do. I'm not the best competitive battler in the world, so I decided to switch into a grass-type Pokemon to counter his Swampert. I predicted that he was gonna switch out, so I went for a close combat, and he switched into an Infernape, which was perfect for me because I did a ton of damage with my close combat. So then I switched into my Charizard because I figured he was either gonna use a fire or fighting type move, which would do pretty much nothing against my Charizard. And so I went for a Thunder Punch, which finished off his Infernape. And then he switched back into his Swampert, which is obviously a really bad matchup for my Charizard. I knew that I had to keep my Virizion alive in order to take out his Swampert, but I figured if I switched into my Virizion now, he could definitely get one shot. So I went for a really risky play and went for a Dragon Dance. Fortunately, I survived the hit that his Swampert left, and then I went for an Earthquake of my own. It didn't do as much damage as I had hoped, but it still did enough that I wasn't so upset with my Charizard. Then, of course, I went back into my Virizion, because I knew that this was the opposite Pokemon that he had wanted to see. So I went for a Leaf Blade, and it was ×4 effective against the Swampert and destroyed him. So far, so good. Even though it seemed like I was up in the battle, I was absolutely terrified. My hands were shaking, and my body sweating. I've never fought one of these things before, so I didn't really know what to do. And so I just went for another Leaf Blade. Eventually my Virizion went down. I didn't really know what to do, so I just went into my Mewtwo, because I knew Mewtwo's really good, and I figured he could potentially do something to kill this thing. So I went for an Ice Beam, because I knew that was super effective. He almost killed me in one hit, but luckily, I managed to take him out. And then my Life Orb ended up destroying my Mewtwo. And now it was down to a 3 versus 3. I went back to Swampert because I didn't want to show my last two Pokemon. This was a perfect matchup because he sent out a Jolteon, which can't really affect Swampert. I made a safe play and went for an Earthquake. Unfortunately, he switched into Corviknight, so I didn't end up doing any damage to it. I knew that Jolteon wouldn't really be able to do much against my Groudon either, so I just decided to try Waterfalling this thing. It used Iron Defense 2 times, so I knew Waterfall wasn't going to do too much. So then I switched out to Zapdos, and then I went for a Discharge. It was super effective and finished the job. Corviknight was dead. He went back into his Jolteon, so obviously I switched back into my Swampert. And of course, I went for an Earthquake. He switched out again into a Serperior, which I knew was trouble for me because it was super effective not only against my Swampert, but also my Groudon. I knew that he had a big advantage here, and I didn't really need Swampa anymore since I still had my Groudon to counter his Jolteon. So I decided to continue trying to just kill this thing with my Swampert, and he did a pretty good job. Then I switched into Zapdos, where I decided to use Heat Wave. That killed Serperior, and Jolteon was his very last Pokemon. And so I used Heat Wave again, and it did a lot of damage and burned Jolteon. Now I was getting excited because I knew that I had this in the bag. And the very last move was a Heat Wave from Zapdos that finished his Jolteon. And now, I was able to steal any of his 6 Pokemon. He had so many great ones. I really didn't know who to go for, to be honest. But I ended up stealing his Dragapult. After that, I got swarmed. So I decided to get the heck out of the war zone as fast as I possibly could. My entire body was trembling. But as I looked in my PC, I saw that he was there. The battle perfect Dragapult. I brought him into my team, looked at his moves, checked out his stats, and could not be happier. And even though the fight had ended, I was still very nervous and trembling. That was epic. And just like that, I had 2 of my objectives crossed off my list. And now it was time for the last objective, to Gigantamax my Charizard. And even though there's still a good amount of days left in this 100 days, I knew that this was going to take absolutely forever. This is not an easy challenge. To get a Dynamax band, you have to find an NPC that spawns in a village that gives a very rare quest. This NPC has a 5% chance of spawning, which pretty much means that I have a 1 in 20 chance of it spawning. However, NPC quests reset every single Minecraft day, so I pretty much have the odds of 1 in 20 chance of this quest spawning. And so I adventured out, found myself a village, and camped this village until I pretty much found one. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I ended up going to get food and doing some IRL stuff as I waited. I would check back every 20 minutes or so to see if there were any new quest givers here. Fortunately, though, after about 10 days of sitting in here and looking for the purple exclamation point quest, I finally found it. I'm not sure if the purple/pink exclamation point 100% means that it's the quest to get Dynamax, but it's definitely one of them. So anyway, I proceeded to talk to this girl, and she asked if I could help her, so of course I said yes. Eventually, she started showing me an item called a Fallen Star. She gave it to me and asked me to look into it, and so of course I said yes. So now I needed to find out what this Fallen Star was and come back to her after I found out. Also, you guys might have seen earlier, but there was this dude who has a red quest above his head. And I was talking to my friends about it. Apparently, this is a legendary quest that's even more rare than the Dynamax quest. The fact that they both spawned at the exact same time is kind of crazy. But anyway, of course, I'm gonna accept this dude's quest as well.
There's tales of a mysterious shrine and a golden Pokeball that attracts its guardian to it.
So pretty much all that Kurt wanted is he asked me to get him 5 level balls, which doesn't seem too difficult. But as I checked my quests, there's the Shooting Star quest, which is the more important one to me because that is how I Dynamax. But then there's also the Forest Guardian. So for the Shooting Star quest, I have to defeat 75 Pokemon and capture another 25 Pokemon. It's definitely not too challenging, but it is gonna take some time. To kill the 75 Pokemon, I just jumped straight down from spawn all the way down to where all these level 1 spawn. And then I just started a massacre. And just like that, I only had 1 more Pokemon to defeat, and Walrein caught these hands. So then I RTP'd, and the first thing that I saw was fire particles, and I knew somewhere around here was a Pokehunt Pokemon. So my tactic for catching the 25 Pokemon was to just run around and throw dust balls at Hoothoots. I literally just ran around and threw Pokeballs at every single Pokemon that I saw. Honestly, it was pretty fun. I was just bouncing around trees, chucking these dust balls. It was really helping with my aim. Rattata, Hoothoot, Deerling, you name it. They got in my balls. None of them could escape my ferocious balls. And as I was catching a Hoothoot, I noticed more fire particles, and it was a Skitty. And she was no exception to the catching genocide. She went straight into my ball as well. And after a little while of catching Pokemon, I finally completed the Shooting Star mission. And so I went back to the village and talked to Professor Hapu again. And then she gave me another stupid quest! And I had to defeat 25 freaking trainers! Where am I gonna find 25 trainers? Well, I figured spawn might be a decent start. There are trainers that are in the area, so I decided to look around. Oh boy. and a long time later, you'll see if you look in the bottom right that there's only one more trainer left to defeat. And here she is! She's already got a bloody eye, blood on her shirt, and I'm about to make this mess 10 times worse. Because she is about to catch the absolute smoke. Swampa is not messing around, and there we go! We finally did it! Now we have to return to Professor Hapu, who will hopefully not give us another quest, and will just give us the Dynamax thing. And there we go! Professor Hapu has officially given us a Dynamax band. This will allow you to infuse your Pokemon with immense power for a short while. Thank you so much, Professor Hapu! And now, it is time to equip ourselves with the Dynamax band. If I take off my robe, you can see that I actually have a band on my arm now, and that is a Dynamax band. However, I prefer to have my drip on. Wait, what is this? I didn't realize that I had this robe. I think that this robe is an 8.2 robe, and because I'm super awesome and super special, that I have access to it. Wow, that's pretty epic. Oh, and there's also a winter cloak, dude. Wait, these are so cool. All right, but I'm gonna stick with the Drown robe. This thing is sick. But anyway, one thing that is really important to note about Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing is that the only time that you can actually do it is against other boss Pokemon, players, or NPCs. You cannot do it against wild Pokemon. Luckily, I found myself a Mega Ampharos. These things are actually a lot more common than you think, at least the Amphoroses. The other Mega Bosses, not so much. Unfortunately, this is a really bad matchup for our Charizard. However, he should be able to Dynamax. Not Gigantamax yet, but Dynamax. So if we do go ahead and click the middle button, you'll see that this crazy thingy pops up, and then we can max Flare. And here we go! Our Charizard is enormous! Haha, that is so sick! Like I said though, Charizard is not too good against Ampharos, and he got bodied. So, not a great first showing for our Dynamax Charizard. But that's okay, because Groudon one-shot it. Easy peasy. Well anyway, now that we have a Dynamax Charizard, it is time to get him Gigantamaxed. So pretty much in order for a Pokemon to be able to Gigantamax, they have to get Max Soup. The recipe for Max Soup is 1 bowl and 3 Max Mushrooms. Normally in Pixelmon, the way that you get Max Mushrooms is by finding a mushroom biome and finding them spawned on the floor. However, on the server, there is a completely different way to find these mushrooms. In order to obtain these mushrooms, you had to kill this Pokemon called Shiinotic. First of all, they were really rare to spawn. They only had a 2.36 chance of spawning. These Pokemon dropped Max Mushrooms. However, they dropped them at a very rare rate. I can only find about 1 to 2 of these things a day, but finally, I got one. A Max Mushroom. I still had 2 left to go, and I was honestly exhausted. I'd been in this tiger biome for so long. And after a little while, we got another mushroom. We only have 1 more to go until we have to craft a bowl, which is gonna be really challenging. I'm kidding, obviously. That would be really, really easy. And just like that, we got the last Max Mushroom. The last 2 actually came pretty quickly. I only had to beat like 4 or 5 different of those things, and they dropped 2 of them. They only have a 15% spawn rate, so that was actually really lucky. So now it's time to go back home, get some wood, craft a bowl, and complete the recipe for a Max Soup. And now, we can feed the Max Soup to our Charizard. And in chat it says, Charizard has gained the Gigantamax factor. So what I decided to do was put in chat, someone TP to me to catch these hands. I was really ready to fight anyone, but honestly, I didn't care if I won or lost. All that I really wanted to do was test out my new Gigantamax Charizard. And then this guy took it too far and made battle rules and stuff. But again, I don't really care. I'm just trying to have a good time and try out my new Gigantamax Pokemon. And so, here we go. G-Max Wildfire, let's do it. And just check out that absolute beautiful beast. A Gigantamax Charizard. I know for a fact that my enemy is trembling right now. And just like that, we took out one of his best Pokemon into Volcarona. Unfortunately, the Gigantamax form does not last too long, and so it was only 3 moves before Charizard went back to its original state. However, those 3 turns were absolutely epic, and he managed to take out 2 extraordinarily strong Pokemon in the process. I ended up losing the fight, but that's not what I cared about. All I know is that all 3 of my objectives were now complete. These 100 days were absolutely wild. I took this puny little Charizard and not only turned him into a man, but into a Gigantoman. Okay, that was a little bit cringe, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for these 100 days. I know it was super long awaited, but we actually have a ton of new updates coming to the server very soon, and when they roll out, I will be sure to make another 100 days, where hopefully I get even more Gigantamax Pokemon. Because I think that they're really cool. And if you guys think that they're really cool too, be sure to go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below. But if you guys do want to join me in these 100-day videos, be sure to join. It's completely free. All you have to do is join the IP in the description. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you, dudes.